Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy Deadline stream, this time out of the second leg of the round of 16. Match day 12 is almost upon us, and we've got 3 transfers at our disposal. We can also pick 4 players per club. This will increase to 5 in the next round, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. We also can get 5 free transfers for the first leg of each stage of the competition, but I haven't made my moves yet, and I talked about selling Erling Haaland in my team selection. I am considering selling Harry Kane instead. I saw one predicted lineup which has Nicholas Jackson starting up front, and that's why I might change my tune a little bit. It's a very similar plan, of course, and then one of Gyökeres or Alvarez would likely come in to replace Harry Kane, and that also gives me more money to upgrade Ruggeri to a João Cancelo, Saliba, or Piero Hincapié, and I put several polls out on my channel. There's probably going to be one in this live stream as well. Drop a like on this stream, subscribe to the channel. We're going to make a big stride today towards a new goal in 39,000 subscribers, and we're growing all the social media platforms. That includes my Discord server. The link is in the description, and what I'll probably do as well is actually put a link in the live chat to make it even easier. But in any video of mine, whether it's FPL, UCL Fantasy, you're always going to see those links in the description. The same goes to my Patreon and the Championships. Fair likes to my videos, proud to comments, and many other perks. There's also my Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky for updates on my content, as well as those fantasy formats as well. So let's get this little link, if you will, to Discord. I would highly recommend checking it out, but thanks to those that have been waiting patiently. And yeah, for the next 2 hours, I'll be answering your questions and providing updates. But I was also working on some graphics like the clean sheet odds, which were updated today. And there are some interesting results there, to say the least, but I'll get more, or let's say delve more into my team later on, because the captaincy could also change. I'm even tempted to captain Erling Haaland despite the blunder last week where he was my final captain and blanked against Real Madrid. So I'll start off with your questions first and foremost, and I'm also going to be keeping an eye out on Twitter to see if there are any other updates, because with Bayern Munich, for example, there are quite a few things to really delve into. So good to see you, Easy, aka Eddie. Potential upset in the second leg. I don't want to say it. I really don't, but I think Leverkusen could actually be one of them. There are multiple teams down by 3 goals, like Sporting, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Man City. I think the most likely to overturn that is probably Man City, but they'd probably have to score 4 or 5 goals. I just don't see them keeping a clean sheet against Real Madrid. Bayern could start a 16-year-old goalkeeper who needs a work permit, or start Harry Kane. Yeah, that's a shout. I mean, that's not enough for me to keep Harry Kane in my team, to be fair. But yeah, I think Ulrich will start. And it all depends on the medical tests. And there's actually a quote by Vincent Kompany, which I'll delve into very soon. Any Bodo Glimt asset to buy? I've been very consistent on this. One of their strikers, either Hugh or Hauge. I've currently got Hauge in my team. He is my favourite one. And of course, Brunstadt Fett was one of the highest scoring midfielders last week with 13 points. And I think he offers great value at 4.7 million. In fact, he offers 11.3 points per Euros, making him one of the best value picks in the game. Bodo will make UCL history. Well, yeah, they're already making history, and they had a bit of a tough start, but they really picked things up over the last couple of match days, so fair play to them. But hopefully their journey ends in the quarterfinals should they face Arsenal, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. Will any Premier League teams qualify? I believe so. I think Arsenal and Liverpool. Newcastle are technically still in it, but I think they'll be eliminated by Barcelona, and the other teams are losing by 3 goals, and I think all of them will be out after the round of 16. I think we're a big will play, yes. Is Semenyo a sell? I have seen 1 or 2 predicted lineups where Semenyo isn't in there, but I'll also be keeping an eye out on Twitter and seeing if we get any other information. But I don't think Semenyo is a great option on paper. Even if he does score, I don't think his ceiling is particularly high against Real Madrid, but maybe I'm wrong. It could be a high-scoring game after all, but I think Erling Haaland is the best Man City asset still. Yeah, if there were to be a comeback, yeah, Man City. Captaincy, Gabriel or Suarez? Suarez is interesting. And for those that maybe are worrying about him too much in the long term, probably not, because they are 3-0 down, but he is a suspension risk. And remember, with all these players walking the suspension tightrope, that will not be reset until the semi-final stage. But Yeah, I think for a one match day captaincy punt, I don't mind Luis Suarez at all, but I think Gabriel would still be ranked a little bit higher. Why is everyone selling Haaland? Well, Man City will likely go out. They're 3-0 down. And I'll be honest, I might end up keeping him for this match day and sell Harry Kane instead. And I talked about that at the beginning of this stream. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons why. Also, the lack of form from both Man City and Erling Haaland, who has blanked in the last 3 matches. Man City dropped crucial points in the title race against Nottingham Forest and West Ham. And of course, that first leg performance against Real Madrid left a lot to be desired. Top 5 forwards to own. Gyökeres, Erling Haaland. I would say Harry Kane, but I'm not sure if he starts, to be fair. So maybe Jackson. Dare I say, Nicholas Jackson could be one. Depends on Barcelona's starting 11, but I would favour their midfielders, to be fair. I think Luis Suarez looks good for this match day. And after that, possibly Hauger. But that is my rough sort of top 5 at the moment, and there could be a change there. Sell Grimaldo. He did get an assist in the first leg, of course. He's a brilliant FPL, or I should say UCL fantasy asset, not FPL. He is joint top for the most points scored in this game, alongside Anthony Gordon, but I think with Grimaldo, probably more of a sell than a hold. I personally think Leverkusen will concede, even if they were to go through. I would back Arsenal today, and hopefully they don't let us down. So you get free transfers now for the second leg, and you get 5 free transfers in the first leg of each round. So that pattern repeats until the end of the season now. That's very simple, and that's always been the case, even with the previous format we had in UCL Fantasy. Yeah, what's your thoughts on selling Hugh to Ekitike? Not a bad option. I mean, Bodo Glimt are 3-0 up. They're away from home now. They'll probably focus on seeing things out, but a lot of the games are high scoring. I still think they'll score against Sporting. And Ekitike is very hit or miss. I bought him in FPL for a -4 hit, and he didn't even start the game. But yeah, I think Liverpool will score at least a goal against Galatasaray, but possibly 2 or 3. And I think they will advance to the next round. So it's not a bad shout on paper, but I don't see a massive need to sell Hugh to Ekitike. In fact, the Norwegian has been better in UCL Fantasy this season. Rafinha, Martinelli, Szoboszlai, Carl. I'd go for Rafinha. Hat-trick on Sunday against Sevilla in a 5-2 win. Thank you for the shout as well. And as he says, drop a like on the stream. Let's get it to over 300 and maybe we'll push on to beyond 400, but we'll see. Take it one step at a time. And let's also close in on 39k when it comes to subscribers on YouTube. I think Kvaratskhelia and Julian Alvarez already did their job. It's too late to buy them. Yeah, I get that. And I said this with PSG as well. It could be Vitinha's time to shine, even though he also scored in that 5-2 win against Chelsea. You've also got Doué, who was the hero in the knockout phase playoffs, facing Monaco, so it could be a different player stepping up, or maybe PSG are more conservative here and they score 1 goal, but their focus will be on defending their lead against Chelsea. But a bit like with Bodo Glimt, I think PSG are a team that will still want to attack and score goals under Luis Enrique, so I still think their attack, and that includes Kvaratskhelia, will have plenty to offer there. If you still have the Limitless, would you save it now, or use it now, or save it? I talked about this in all my videos, and I've been very consistent over the years with the format, so I would use the Limitless in Matchday 12. I've always said that my preference is the league phase, but that's already gone. It's about what's right in front of us. So Matchday 12 Limitless and Matchday 13 Wildcard is my recommendation. It's all covered in my chip strategy guide as well. Kane could be in goal. Yeah, I don't think that'll be the case unless Urbig is out, but I think he will be available. Thank you, Oogie Boogie. Good to see you. And also to Johnny A. It's always good to see a channel member in the building. I don't think Kane is going to start. Welcome, Jono. Always a pleasure. Haaland isn't carrying an injury. He obviously came back from one recently, but his form is just poor. And Man City in general have struggled to create chances for him, and they lack that cutting edge up front at the moment. Yeah, Alvarez is still a good option for me, and I think Spurs will attack a lot and try to chase that 5-2 deficit and close the gap there. And that's where Alvarez could thrive. But I think out of all these teams that are defending a comprehensive lead, I think Atletico are one of the more likely ones to defend it compared to PSG and Bodo Glimt. So yeah, if there was one player who did really well last week who might disappoint a little bit this week, it could be Alvarez. I'm not saying that will be the case. I think the Argentine is still a brilliant option against Tottenham. He's in fact very highly ranked in my Captaincy list, but maybe it should be tempered down a little bit in terms of our expectations. Who is more of a priority transfer in? Difficult one because I think Real Madrid and PSG will go through, and looking at the long term, they both have tough fixtures in the quarterfinals, and Vinicius is facing Bayern Munich, who are one of the very best teams in world football, and Kvaratskhelia would likely face Liverpool, but I think that fixture looks a bit better for him. However, factoring in Matchday 12 as well, it is very close, but I think Kvaratskhelia does edge it for me. I don't think Upamecano will start based on the predicted lineup I've seen. However, Jonathan Tah does feature, which could play into my hands actually. Based on the lineup I've seen, I would say yes, Tah over Upamecano, but I was a bit disappointed by the Frenchman's assist in the first leg. Exactly that, Majan. I talked about this in my videos. Both Jackson and Diaz got a red card against Leverkusen in a 1-1 draw, so I would expect both of them to start in the Champions League, and Harry Kane will be prepped and saved for that Bundesliga match. So it's definitely worth mentioning again. But yeah, the lineup I saw doesn't have Harry Kane in there, and I think it's understandable. Yeah, Alvarez looks good still, but as I mentioned, maybe Tottenham will win the game and possibly Atletico will just focus on defending their lead. I still think they'll go through, but stranger things have happened. Would you sell Timber or Elise? Well, they're both not going to play this week. So if you've already made other transfers elsewhere, that's not ideal, but it depends on the player you're bringing in. And I think there are more options in the midfield. So as a result, I would sell Elise, who would then likely face Paris Saint-Germain. No, Real Madrid, sorry, in the quarterfinals. But yeah, tough one. Ultimately, I'd like to sell both of them, even for a -4 hit potentially. But yeah, it's not an ideal situation. Vitinha, Gnabry, Valverde, or Rafinha, give me two. I'm going to say Rafinha, and Gnabry's not a bad shout, but I'm going to show you the lineup very soon. Probably Vitinha. I think long term, that's the one. Yeah, Bayern already 6-1 up. Maybe should have Kane in goal. Yeah, that's only a last resort, really. Sell Elise, because I want Elise for the next round as well. Depends on your squad, but if you're going to be down to 14 players because you're keeping Elise, I mean, that's fair enough, but I'd sell him. That's my sort of take on it. You can always buy him back with 5 free transfers in the first leg of the quarterfinals. I think Urbig will play, yes, but I can't guarantee it. And Vincent Kompany said it all depends on what the doctors say and the medical tests. Hincapié or Trent? I think Hincapié is a much better option this week, but bearing in mind in the long term, we could see rotation there. I think Hincapié will start in the cups for Arsenal, and in the league, we could see Calafiori be the left back, as we saw against Everton on Saturday. I don't think Semenyo is a must-sell, but there are better midfielders in the game right now. So I would be tempted to sell him, but it all depends on which midfielders you're lacking and what your other players look like. So if you got Elise, I'd sell him and keep Semenyo for now, and then bring in Elise potentially for the quarterfinals. But yeah, it all depends on that. You think it's worth using a transfer on Oblak? Yes. But it depends once again on what the rest of your squad looks like. It's very difficult for me to say, yeah, definitely do it and whatever, because you could actually gain more points from a outfield transfer. But at least with this, you give yourself a better chance and a contingency plan just in case David Raya doesn't keep the clean sheet or produces a return in matchday 12. Saka or Rafinha? I think Madueke could start. And let's not forget, Arsenal have a cup final on Sunday against Man City. So I think Saka will start in the Carabao Cup in Wembley, and Madueke will start today. That's my prediction. I could be wrong, but Rafinha scored a hat-trick on Sunday. I would back him over Saka. Kane, Osimhen, Haaland. Who would you replace Kane with? One of Gyökeres or Alvarez. Yeah. I also like Petter Haug, Hugh, and even Luis Suarez as a one-match-day punt, but I think overall it's going to be one of Gyökeres or Alvarez there. Even Ekitike isn't a bad shout, but I think the other two are a bit more appealing for me. Gnabry or Musiala? Musiala's out, so don't go for him. Gnabry would be the pick as a result. Okay. So just going to have an eye out on Twitter and see if I can bring you other updates. But very soon I'm going to show you on screen what we've got. So yeah, at the moment I don't really see anything new per se, but give it time. Yeah. So what I'm going to do next is go for some different screens. I think that's the best thing to do here. So let's go to the UCL Fantasy League first and foremost. Oh, it's here. So the code is SEINOF. There is an auto-join link in the description. I'd highly recommend you become a part of one of the biggest mini leagues in the world. For Predict 6, I've gone for Arsenal 2, Leverkusen 0, Man City 3, Real Madrid 1, so it could be worth keeping Haaland for one last hurrah. Chelsea 2, PSG 2, but I'm open to changing that, that's for sure. Barcelona 4, Newcastle 1, Tottenham 1, Atleti 2, Liverpool 3, Galatasaray 1, but I could see myself modifying quite a few of these predictions. Let's go to the polls here, and this could be one of my transfers, by the way. So Alvarez or Gyökeres to come in for either Harry Kane or Erling Haaland, and Alvarez is leading this vote with over half of the votes in total. Then there was this captaincy question for the Tuesday, and if I end up keeping Erling Haaland, I might end up just captaining him, to be fair, but Kvaratskhelia is leading this vote with 44%, Gabriel is second, Vinicius is third, and Hauge is last. And this also relates to one of my potential defender moves. Saliba, Hincapié, and Joao Cancelo, the vast majority of you are favouring the Arsenal defence, and that could be a great way into the Gunners defensively, because Jurrien Timber is ruled out, just like Martin Odegaard, and we had plenty of injury updates throughout Europe. Oblak will be missing on Matchday 12, so Juan Musa will start instead. Reece James will also be unavailable for a couple of weeks, so that's a massive blow there for Chelsea. And let's go to Bayern Munich here. So Musiala is out of tomorrow's game against Atalanta, and it's also a doubt for Union Berlin on Saturday. Patience and caution are still required. Vincent Kompany was asked about who will start in goal tomorrow. I'm happy that Neuer is back in team training and that Urbig trained normally, but the decision will be purely a medical one. If things go as expected, Urbig will start. Otherwise, we'll have to find another solution. Harry Kane. Would that be Leonard Prescott? And he said yes. So there you go. That's the serious answer to it. Not Harry Kane playing in goal, as we saw once upon a time in Tottenham. And this is the predicted lineup for Bayern Munich according to Sky Sports Germany. So Urbig in goal, Biskov, Kim Min-jae and Tah, which would be very helpful for me, by the way, Stanisic, Pavlovic, Goretzka, Diaz, Gnabry, Karl, and Nicholas Jackson. So that is the predicted lineup we have on screen. And let's go to UEFA.com for the other predicted lineups. But remember, in half an hour's time, maybe 40 minutes, we're going to get the official starting 11s for Sporting and Bodo Glimt. UEFA have gone for Rhys Silva, Fresneda, Diomande, Gonzalo Inacio, Araujo, Hoylmand, Morita, Catamo, Francisco Trincao, who is the best Sporting asset overall, Pedro Gonçalves, and Luis Suarez. The players who are out include Luis Guillermo, Ricardo Mangas, I'll skip that name just in case, Ianodis, and Giovanni Quenda. There are 2 suspension risks for Sporting, maybe it won't matter in the end anyway, Hjulmand and Luis Suarez. For Bodo Glimt, Heikin has the most saves of any goalkeeper in this season's competition. Sjøvold, Bjørtoft, Gundersen, Bjorkan, Evgen, Berg, Brunstad-Fett, Blomberg, Hugh, and Hauge is the predicted 11. No players are missing for them, but they have 3 suspension risks in Auckland, Berg, and Gundersen. Let's now focus on the other teams and predicted lineups because we're not going to get that information before the deadline. For Chelsea against Paris Saint-Germain, we have this 11 from the home side. Sanchez, Gusto Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, Lavia, Caicedo, Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto, and Joao Pedro. It's worth mentioning that this is very useful as a guide, but I wouldn't take it as gospel. In terms of players who are out, Colwill and Reece James, whilst Gittins and Esteval are doubtful. Enzo Fernandez and Andre Santos are walking that suspension tightrope, and for PSG, we could see Safonov, Hakimi, Marquinhos, Bacho, Nuno Mendes, Zaire Emery, Vitinha, João Neves, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and Barcola, who has started every single Champions League game for Paris Saint-Germain this season. Fabian Ruiz and Injantu are out, whilst Kvaratskhelia and Nuno Mendes will miss the next game if booked. So that's very important, actually, when factoring in our transfer plans. But someone asked me earlier, would you buy Kvaratskhelia or Vinicius? Well, Vinicius is also a suspension risk, so let's bear that in mind. But for Man City, we could see Donnarumma, Matheus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Guehi, Ait Nouri, Rodri, O'Reilly, Semenyo, Bernardo Silva, Cherki, and Erling Haaland. Gvardiol is out, whilst Alien, Rico Lewis, Savio, and Stones are doubtful. Donnarumma, Guehi, O'Reilly, and Savio will miss the next game if booked. And for Real Madrid, Mbappe is in the squad. The same goes for Bellingham and Carreras. So we could see this 11 with Courtois, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Howson, Rudiger, Fran Garcia, Valverde, the hat-trick hero from last week, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler, and Vinicius Jr. So it says Alaba, Ceballos, Mendy, and Rodrigo are out. And also they've gone for Bellingham here. The doubtful players include Mbappe, Carreras, Asensio, and Eder Militao. Now the suspension risks are quite substantial for Real Madrid here. Bellingham, Carreras, Howson, Rodrigo, Tchouaméni, and Vinicius Jr., who remains the best Madrid asset, in my opinion. For the final game today, we've got Arsenal-Leverkusen. Raya, Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Rice, Zubimendi, Saka, Eze, Martinelli, and Gyökeres. I personally think Madueke could start over Bukayo Saka. Marino, Odegaard, and Timber are out, whilst Norgard and Zubimendi are one booking away from a suspension. For Leverkusen, Blažević, Quansah, Andrik, Tapsoba, Poku, Palacios, Garcia, Grimaldo, Tillman, Massa, Kafani is the predicted 11. Patrick Schick did start over the weekend against Bayern Munich, and Grimaldo was suspended for that game. Arthur, Badi, and Lucas Vazquez are out, whilst Terrier is doubtful. And we have 3 suspension risks, in fact 4, because I can't count. Garcia, Grimaldo, Kafani, and Poku. We're now on to the Wednesday games, and I will drop a link in the live chat as well to make it very simple. And hopefully I can get a few more updates or bits of information for you from Twitter, which could be very useful. So in the early kickoff tomorrow, we could see Barcelona line up with Joan Garcia, Eric Garcia, Cubarsí, Gerard Martín, Joao Cancelo, Bernal, Pedri, Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha, and Ferran Torres, whilst Balde, Christensen, Koundé, and De Jong are unavailable. We have 4 suspension risks. Yes, I can count. Well done. Casado, Fermin Lopez, Gerard Martín, and Yamal will miss the next game if booked. And for Newcastle, Ramsdale, Trippier, Chow, Byrne, Lewis Hall, Tonali, Joelinton, Murphy, Voltemada, Barnes, Gordon would be the lineup. Bruno Guimaraes and Cher remain out, whilst Miley, Tonali, and Willock are doubtful. So the likes of Byrne, Joelinton, Tonali, and Willock will miss the next game if booked. And let's now move on to Liverpool against Galatasaray. Alisson Becker made his return from injury over the weekend. Frimpong, Van Dijk, Konate, Kerkez, Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and Ekitike. Bradley, Endo, and Isak are out. And a few of those names, like Bradley, are also suspension risks. The same goes for Van Dijk, Jones, and Gravenberch. So as you can see, a lot of the key UCL fantasy assets are walking that suspension tightrope. We have to be very careful about that heading into Matchday 13. For Galatasaray, we could see Uğurcan Çakır. Well, we will see him start in goal unless something dodgy happens. Sasha Bowie, Singo, Bardakci, Jakobs, Torreira, Lemina, Yilmaz, Gabriel Sara, Lang, and Osimhen. And he is by far the best Galatasaray asset for me. Buyuk and Sanchez are out. And Bardakci, Çakır, Jakobs, Lang, Osimhen, and Shalai will miss the next game if booked. We are approaching the end of this segment, and we have Bayern Munich, which is going to be one of the biggest talking points. UEFA agree with that Sky Sports Germany 11, and that means no Harry Kane in the lineup. They've gone for Urbig in goal, Stanisic, Tah, Kim Min-jae, and Biskov, Goretzka, Pavlovic, Karl, Gnabry, Luis Diaz, and Jackson, and I think that's a very reliable and sort of safe starting 11. I agree with pretty much all of it. In terms of the players who are out, Davis, Ito, Kimmich, who is suspended, Klanac, Neuer, another suspension in Elise, of course, Ulrich, and yeah, he can't play because of concussion protocols. And in terms of suspension risk, we have Lima and Upamecano from the Bavarians. For Atalanta, Karnesecki, Kusunu, Hien, Kolasinac, Zappacosta, De Roon, Ederson, Bernasconi, De Ketelaere, who is a massive boost, by the way, his return to the Atalanta side, Sulemana and Kristovic. Musa is suspended, whilst De Roon, Jim City, Kusunu and Scamacca will miss the next game if booked. So for Tottenham versus Atletico Madrid, we could see Vicario, Borro, Romero, Van de Ven, Spence, Gray, Sarr, Tell, Xavi Simons, Kolomuani and Solanke start, but Richarlison scored a crucial goal against Liverpool on Sunday. Joao Paulinho is out because of concussion. Kudus, Odegaard and Richarlison. Oh yeah, Richarlison suspended, so never mind what I just said. They are all out. Gallagher is doubtful because of illness, whilst Archie Gray, Kolomuani and Joao Paulinho will miss the next game if booked. That's why UEFA.com is very important and also very useful when it comes to predicted lineups. I've been showing you them for quite a while now. For the last team, Atletico Madrid, Juan Musa would replace the injured Oblak. Bubil, Lenormand, Hanko, Ruggeri, Simeone, Lorente, Cardoso, Lookman, Griezmann, Alvarez looks pretty solid, whilst Mendoza and Oblak are out. Barrios is doubtful, and there are plenty of suspension risks here in Almada, Barrios, Lenormand, Lenglet, Lorente, Bubil, and Simeone. A few Argentinians in there, not a big surprise to me, and I can say that, by the way. I have Argentinian citizenship. Anyway, let's not go into all that stuff. Who gives a no one cares. Let's talk about UCL bloody fantasy. But before I go back to your questions, don't go anywhere. Yeah, let's go to a few different things here, and that includes the odds. Yeah, let's go to the odds first and foremost. So the deadline today is at 6:45 p.m. Do not get caught out by that deadline. These are the highest scoring players in every single position. Courtois is the best goalkeeper, and Grimaldo's number one amongst defenders. Anthony Gordon is joint top amongst all players with Grimaldo there, and Osimhen is climbing the rankings, but Mbappe remains top. And this is the sort of short list of the top 5 across all positions, a couple of midfielders in there, and a nice balance overall. And these are the clean sheet odds. Arsenal are top once again with a 51% probability against Leverkusen at home. Liverpool are second with a 42% chance, which many of you may disagree with. Bayern Munich and Man City are in the top 4. Not sure if I agree with the Man City one, but there you go. Sporting and Barcelona are also up there, with Galatasaray bottom facing Liverpool away, only a 7% chance. And all these stats are taken by the website fantasyfootballpundit.com. Now, maybe my top 10 captaincy list needs a bit of tweaking and adjusting, because I think Gyökeres, for example, could be a brilliant option for the armband today. I've gone for Harry Kane top, but to be honest with you, based on all the predicted lineups, we can forget about Harry Kane. I don't think he's going to start. Maybe Jackson will be the best Bayern Munich player to captain. Who even knows at this point? But I think Yamal, Rafinha, Alvarez, Gabriel would be a solid top 4 list with Kvaratskhelia, Haaland, Vinicius, Szoboszlai, and Trincao. So my current plan, based on that lineup I showed you, in fact 2 of them, which have Harry Kane on the bench, I am looking at selling him and keeping Erling Haaland for at least one more match day. And these are the fixtures, of course, and you can see them broken down. The early kickoff today is between Bodo Glimt and Sporting. We're going to get the lineups in 30 to 40 minutes from now, I should say. Right? Yeah. In 30, 40 minutes, basically. Maybe a bit sooner. The early kickoff tomorrow is Barcelona-Newcastle. All the other games will be at 8 p.m, of course. Arsenal-Leverkusen will be the final set, let's say, or the final match of the Tuesday. But yeah, it's going to be played at the same time as Man City, Real Madrid, and Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain. But if you want to see the sort of best assets from every single team, then check out my recent videos like the best wildcard squad. But it's worth mentioning for Atalanta, I would change that to De Ketelaere. I think he's a better option than Scamacca, who might not even start for the Italian side. All right, let's now go back to my team and also answering some questions in the process. But like I said, I do want to get some more information from Twitter. I feel like there's something missing, potentially. Something we haven't seen yet, which would be very important. Okay, so we do have another update from Company, which might be worth covering. A lot of people are asking about Upamecano. So, yeah, it seems like the buying show at the moment. All the updates come from the Bavarians here. So, he was asked about resting Upamecano and Lima because of the suspension risks, and he said, that's a logical consideration. Who wouldn't consider that? It is what it is. The fact is, with a yellow card, they would be suspended for the next game. But if it's necessary, then so be it. There's no special reasoning behind it. But yeah, I think those lineups we've seen from Sky Sports Germany and UEFA are pretty reliable, to say the least. And let me drop that link before I forget to the predicted lineups, which is always a very useful resource in UCL Fantasy. And a big up to the moderators as well for keeping things moving. Massively appreciated as always. The same goes to the members, patrons, and subscribers. And let's keep on pushing towards 39k on YouTube. But yeah, let's go back to my fantasy team and answering a few more questions here. Welcome, Lucky himself. I'm doing well. What about you? Barkala or Kvaratskhelia? I would go for Kvaratskhelia still, but he is a suspension risk, which isn't ideal. Cold Palmer, not for me. No. Yeah, Dylan Lewis Miley is on travel for Newcastle. Thanks for that. That's definitely worth updating. Madrid won't score today. I think they will. Thinking of Elise to Kvaratskhelia and Semenyo to Lookman and Kane to Diaz. Looks pretty good, and actually a Bayern Munich forward is definitely on the cards. One of Diaz or Jackson could be very good, at least for one match day. So yeah, definitely worth having a look. I like all of those transfers. Just bear in mind that with Kvaratskhelia, one more booking and you'll miss the next game. When will your Argentina citizenship be revoked? Never. It's there for life, mate. Don't worry. No Kane in goal. Yeah, he won't be in goal. If anything, Prescott is more likely, but it's going to be Orbig. I'm thinking Kane, Haaland to Diaz, Elise to Rafinha. Yeah, probably sell Kane based on the lineup. Now, could he come off the bench and score? Yes, he definitely could, but I just don't like having players who are on the bench, which is why a few match days ago I sold Lookman, and it wasn't really a great transfer as part of a -4 hit, but yeah, he got an assist off the bench, but the ceiling is considerably lower in most cases. Not everyone's going to do a Doué or Kvaratskhelia off the bench. Hi Dylan, good to see you. Since I'm planning to use my wildcard in Game Week 13, would you recommend targeting players from teams that might not qualify? Yes, that is one of the main things you can do to maximize what's right in front of you and take advantage of the fact you've got the wildcard to bail you out. So you can go for Trincao in the midfield, Erling Haaland up front. I think that's the way to go in your situation. Oops, I own Doué. Yeah, he might be worth a sell there, but it's just one predicted lineup. Having said that, Barkala has started every single Champions League game, and he's showing good form with 3 goals in the last 3 matches. Thoughts on Carl? I think any Bayern attacker or midfielder looks quite appealing against Atalanta. So, yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. He is very cheap as well. He's not really offering the same value as Brunstad Fett from Bodo Glimt, but he's still a decent option with a lot of potential. Welcome, Awale. As he says, subscribe to the channel and like the stream. Why Hincapié over Saliba? Well, I don't know where I said that, by the way. But, yeah, I think Saliba is a bit of a safer option long term. It's a question of budget, though. So once I go into my transfer plans again, we'll talk about the feasibility if I can actually afford Saliba. If I can, he's the better long-term pick than Hincapié, but I think both of them will start for Arsenal in every Champions League game from now on. But Saliba obviously is more likely. Get out Kirkers or Ruggeri? I'd rather sell Ruggeri. I think Kirkers could start against Galatasaray, but yeah. Liverpool are second in the clean sheet odds. Maybe people don't agree with that, which is fair enough. Sorloth is not in the predicted lineup. He started against Getafe over the weekend whilst Alvarez and Lookman were rested. I think it's fair to say that we'll see Griezmann and Alvarez leading the line. Bodo Glimt prediction? Maybe 3-1 Sporting. Something like that. 3-2. I could see it being a high-scoring affair. Yeah, probably take out Kane. That's my current thinking. It could go south. We always know how these things can go. So we've got a few super chats in the building. Thank you to Julio. For captain, Vinicius, Hauger, or Gyökeres? I'd be tempted by Gyökeres, you know, and I might change the captaincy graphic if possible before the deadline locks in. But yeah, I think that looks fairly decent. So yeah, I think Vinicius would be ranked higher than Hauger, but I think Gyökeres could leapfrog both of them. I'm going to go for the Swede, and you've always got, well, a few decent Wednesday options, by the way, like Yamal and Rafinha for Barcelona. So, Avis, thank you for becoming a differential. That's massively appreciated. And a big up to Aranya. Missed the last deadline. So, Garassi, Schick, Mbappe, Gordon, Vinicius, Vitinha, Kvaratskhelia, Barnes, Nuno, Hakimi, Grimaldo, Courtois, Pope, DeMarco, Bastoni. Well, yeah, you've got free transfers at your disposal. I think the common sense thing to do here is sell the eliminated players. So, DeMarco, Garassi. Even having Schick isn't ideal, but yeah, at least you can get a point off the bench. The thing is, looking at your squad, yeah, you've got 2 Newcastle midfielders as well. The problem with that approach is that there are some quality midfielders that you're missing out on. So I would sell one of your Newcastle midfielders to Rafinha/Yamal, and Mbappe will likely be on the bench, and that could be used to upgrade other areas. So you're in a difficult position, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, Pope isn't even playing, by the way, but you probably just stick with one goalkeeper and Courtois. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet against Man City, but it is what it is. It's not worth the hit. I think in your situation, you could do something like Garassi to either... Probably not Luis Suarez, because I think Bodo Glimt will go through. And also thinking about the long term, you've got someone in place for the quarterfinals. So one of Hugh or Hauger in for Garassi. And you can use those funds to then get Yamal or Rafinha in the midfield. And that's where you can sell one of the other players, like, let's say, Garassi to Gyökeres or Alvarez, using the free transfers. And maybe taking a -4 hit would work in your situation, Aranya. And you can sell one of the other eliminated players, or those that are unlikely to play or start, like Mbappe or Schick. Kane to Diaz, Alvarez, or Semenyo to Lookman. Based on the lineups I've seen, I'd probably sell Kane. So Kane out for... Yeah, I'd still lean towards Alvarez long term, but I do like Diaz. That's a good pick. We get 3 transfers for this match day, and we get 5 for the first leg of the quarterfinals in match day 13. That pattern repeats until the end of the season. So for every second leg, 3 transfers. For the first leg, you get 5. That includes the final. Is that Will Mosquera start for Arsenal? I believe so, yeah. It's not an absolute guarantee because Ben White is also there, but he hasn't gotten many minutes recently, and he's getting injured way too often, so I think Mosquera will start. I don't think Doué will start, no. How about having 11 playing today for tomorrow? It's about the quality of players and whether you back them or not, but in an ideal world, I would say 8-7 is the bright balance, or even 9-6, having more Tuesday players. If it's the other way round, which is currently the case for me, well, it's not the end of the world, but it does maybe reduce the effectiveness of your substitutions because you have less clarity on which players are blanking and which players you can then sub out. So that is the only downside of it. But as long as you've got that sort of balance either way, you should be good. Even 10-5 is good. And as you say, 11-4, well, it is what it is, right? But ideally, it'd be slightly more balanced than that. Should I get rid of Kane or Elise? I'd arguably sell both of them, to be fair. But Elise is suspended right now. And they're both going to start in the quarterfinals against Real Madrid or Man City. But, yeah, I would rather sell Kane to Gyökeres, actually, at the moment. That's something I'll talk about very soon. Is Vert safe for minutes? Not necessarily, but he should start this game. I think Gakpo will be on the bench, but yeah, Verts has not really been consistent this season. He had decent spells in December, around that period, but nothing prolonged or sustainable. Thinking of targeting teams that need to score, but not sure about Verts or Liverpool as a whole. Completely agree with you there, but I think Szoboszlai has been very consistent and by far Liverpool's best player in an otherwise underwhelming campaign. Should I keep Elise for the next few weeks? I'd sell him personally, but it's up to you. It also depends on your squad. I don't know the context of your 15-man team. Yeah, Captain Szoboszlai is not bad, but try not to spam your messages, please. I don't think Doué will start. Should I switch Doué for Rafinha? I'm going to say yes, because I don't think Doué starts. Yeah, exactly. Transfers do not carry forward in the knockout phase. You can only carry through transfers or carry them on in the league phase, so in the group stages. Big game Haaland is out, says Dennis. Not sure where you saw that, but I'll have a look and see if we have any updates. That would be much appreciated. I do have a predicted Real Madrid lineup for you, though. That could be quite helpful. Let's go to that now. So Courtois, Trent, Rudiger, Hausen, Fran Garcia, Valverde, Tchouaméni, Thiago, Gula, Brahim Diaz, and Vinicius. So very similar to what we saw from UEFA. So I think that's fair to say. I'm also seeing if there's anything else on Twitter, but not at the moment. So yeah, it's a lot of Bayern Munich information at the moment, not from other teams per se. Okay, I do have one for Man City and Real Madrid simultaneously from Marca, so the same outlet which has reported this on screen. But it's in a graphic, a nice little graphic for you. So for Man City, they've gone for Donnarumma, Nunes, Guehi, Diaz, Aït-Nouri, O'Reilly, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Cherki, Haaland, and Semenyo. And for Real Madrid, the exact same, obviously. So, yeah, you can also see the suspension risk with the yellow card icon next to them. But pretty much what we saw from UEFA as well. And I think that's fairly accurate. Do we have a Spurs predicted lineup? So there's one Spurs lineup I've just seen. Vicario, Danso, Dragusin, Mickey van der Ven, Pedro Porro, Spence, Archie Gray, Pape Matar, Colin Moani, Solanke, and Tell. So once again, very similar to what we discussed previously. And I think we've got a Paris Saint-Germain one. So let's go to that now. And very soon we're going to get the official lineups. I'm going to have that ready for you. So let's go to the early kickoffs. I think we already have the lineup. So yeah, let's go to that. So for Sporting, Rui Silva, Morita, Pedro Gonçalves, Catomo, Francisco Trincao, Araujo, Fresneda, Gonzalo Inacio, Hölmand, Quaresma, and Suarez start. So exactly what you would expect. And for Bodo Glimt, Heikin, Björtoft, Gunderson, Berg, Hugh, Hauger, Blomberg, Bjorkam, Brunstad Fett, Sjovold, and Evgen. So pretty much nothing groundbreaking. It's what you would expect from both teams, and we should see the lineups or the formations very shortly, I should say. Let's go to the PSG one, though, which I was in the middle of showing you. So it would be Safonov, Nuno Mendes, Bacho, Marquinhos, Hakimi, Vitinha, Neves, Zé Emery, Kvaratskhelia, Barcola, and Dembele. So that would mean no Doué in the starting 11. But the last time he was benched in the Champions League game, he produced a massive return. So sometimes it can actually bode well for them. We saw that with Kvaratskhelia last time out as well. So yeah, definitely interesting. I'm very conflicted about my midfield and forward transfers, and that's where it's probably worth going back to the transfer section and sort of experimenting a little bit. So I'm going to get rid of Elise and Kane. I think one of Gyökeres, Alvarez, or Diaz would come in up front. And I'd be tempted by Diaz, to be honest, based on the fixture. In the midfield, I've got a lot of money. And yeah, I can also upgrade Ruggeri. So that's where I can go for Saliba in that back line. And then in the midfield, I'm not too far away from Salah. to be fair. And I could afford him if I went for Hincapié, but haven't really seen enough from Salah, to be honest with you. So in the midfield, I could go for a 1 week punt like Francisco Trincao. I wouldn't mind doing that. And it also gives me a nice balance in terms of the Tuesday and the Wednesday. So if I were to make transfers like this, I would have 5, 6, 8 players on the Tuesday and 7 on the Wednesday. But I'm more conflicted about the midfield. I think that one is wide open. It could be absolutely anybody coming in instead of Francisco Trincao. But yeah, I do like the Saliba and Diaz transfers. I think that looks pretty solid. Martinelli's not a bad shout. Even Brunstad Fett, but yeah, I think Sporting could still score and do fairly well there. Kvaratskhelia is still a good option, by the way. I think that Chelsea-PSG game still looks quite interesting. So yeah, I'm going to leave that for now. And in terms of updates, I think we've pretty much got all of them. But yeah, Arbeloa did say this on Mbappe, by the way, in yesterday's press conference. He is ready to play, so tomorrow you will see. Very nice. And okay, I do have an Atletico Madrid lineup by Mundo Deportivo based on their training session. We might as well go to that as well. So Musso, Pubil, Lenormand, Hanko, Ruggeri, Giuliano, Simeone, Llorente, Cardoso, Lookman, Alvarez, and Griezmann. So a lot of these predictions are aligning with each other, which is kind of rare. Yeah, Trossard's available for Arsenal. Both Timber and Odegaard are out, which was covered in my recent videos. Let's go through one last predicted lineup, and that's for Galatasaray. And after that, we can take a break from lineups, maybe for the day. So Uruchan Shakir, Jakobs, Bardakci, Singo, Shalai, Lemina, Torreira, Gabriel Sara, Baris Yilmaz, Sane, and Osimhen. So a few changes here, mainly at right back, where I think UEFA have gone for Sasha Bowie. And also in the attack, if I'm not mistaken, where they went for Noah Lang instead of Leroy Sane. So that's also, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening there for the Galatasaray match, but definitely one to look out for. Yeah, we'll go to this for now, leaving the starting 11. Okay, so yeah, no more updates I think for the time being, but I will be on the prowl, as you saw just now. A lot to go through in UCL Fantasy as always. Drop a like on the stream, a lot of information here in this ultimate guide for Matchday 12, and by watching this, you'll know exactly what to do with your transfers, who to captain as well, and that's something else I could tweak fairly soon. So let's go for a few questions first and foremost. Do you think it's worth doing Kane to Alvarez for a hit? Had 3 players not playing, so I had to make 3 transfers. I probably would, but I'd be tempted by Diaz and Gyökeres as well. Why Diaz instead of Jackson? I think Diaz has shown a bit more in the Champions League, but yeah, in terms of form, I still think Diaz offers a little bit more. Obviously, he does have that red card in him, but if you look at Diaz over the last 10 matches, he's been really impressive, actually. So he has 8 goals in the last 10 matches and 3 assists. Very impressive record, actually. I'm very tempted to bring in Luis Diaz, at least for this match day. If we look at Nicholas Jackson in comparison, he has scored in 2 of the last 3 matches. So yeah, 2 goals, 1 assist. Not bad, but he's not showing the consistency of Luis Diaz. I think that is quite clear. Dembele por Kane. No está mal. Creo que un atacante de PSG, un delantero, está bien, pero Ousmane Dembele, digo la verdad, no está jugando a su mejor nivel en la Champions y hizo su primer gol en mucho tiempo contra Chelsea, pero creo que Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha son mejores opciones en general, y y también tienes defensores como Nuno Méndez, Hakimi y Pacho, que son muy buenos, pero con los delanteros tienes a Gyökeres, Álvarez, Luis Díaz, Jackson, Erling Haaland, Luis Suárez y Hugh. Ellos son muy buenos, pero creo que con Ousmane Dembélé le falta un poquito en la Champions. Still haven't used Wildcard or Limitless. I've been very consistent on this in this stream and throughout all my videos. Matchday 12 Limitless, Matchday 13 Wildcard. It is obviously team dependent, but that is the best course of action for most people. Yeah, exactly. Bayern have advanced already, but both Diaz and Jackson are suspended in the Bundesliga, so it makes sense for them to start. Every single lineup I've seen has both of them in there. Liverpool will go Spursy again, says Easy. I'm not sure about that, but only time will tell. Thank you. Gordon for Valverde, Kvaratskhelia or Barcola? It's still Kvaratskhelia for me, but he's one yellow card away from suspension. This is not my final lineup, no, and I don't recommend anybody copying, like I've said. I've seen people either, well, sometimes they complain if things don't go right, and then I'm like, well, why are you copying? This is just a guide. It's all about discussing ideas, but there you go. How about Stanisic? Bakery? Yeah, getting Stanisic for Timber's fine. I think he will start. I'll be honest, though, with Bayern Munich's goalkeeper situation, it is still a bit unclear. There's no guarantee that Urbig will start, and even he is the second or third choice overall. But yeah, I think a Bayern defender is reasonable, and Stanisic was the highest scoring defender last time out with 12 points. Kane and Alvarez and Hauger. I would sell Harry Kane personally. He's not in any predicted lineup I've seen. I don't think Alvarez is a must-buy, no. What are your transfer plans and top captaincy for today? Yeah, I've talked about this a lot, so I'm going to sell Ruggeri, Elise, and probably Harry Kane. And that's where a few things remain unclear. But yeah, I will talk about that very soon in more detail as well. I'll probably show you the team selection graphics one more time. So let's see. Oh yeah, that was it. Okay. So yeah, fairly soon I will lock in my transfers, but I'm going to put a poll out, especially for midfield, where I'm quite open-minded about who to replace Elise with. You could argue just keep Elise, but yeah, I'm going to sell him to have a full 50-man squad at my disposal. Okay. So apologies for that. Let's go into your questions. Over 1 hour left until the deadline. Diaz or Alvarez? I'll be honest with you now, I'm leaning towards Diaz. His recent form is incredible, and I think he'll start against Atalanta. Hincapié or Hakimi? I'd go for Hincapié this week. This is the only time, by the way, that I would recommend that, I think. But yeah, Arsenal have a better route on paper to the semi-final, so maybe that will actually not be true in the end. Yeah, same. I think that's smart, even if Doué doesn't start. I think any PSG midfielder, like Kvaratskhelia last week, could still do something off the bench, but I just prefer having players who start. I think Spurs will score, and Ruggeri was only there to facilitate big hitters like Rafinha, Yamal, and Haaland, Kane, etc. So I can go to an Arsenal option like Saliba or even Joao Cancelo. I think that looks a little bit better. So let's put a few quickfire polls in the live chat. I was hoping Diaz was lower owned since he's a forward in UCL. 12% at the moment isn't bad though. I think that will increase to maybe 15%, but he is going under the radar. Yeah. So let's put Saliba, triple Arsenal defense, João Cancelo, double Barca defense. I think that's pretty much what I'm looking at when it comes to the defender moves. João Cancelo obviously scored on Sunday against Sevilla in a 5-2 win. No, I covered this before. I don't think Kane will start. João Pedro is decent, but I'm not buying any Chelsea asset. I'm more tempted to buy a PSG option, mainly in the midfield. I think a Palmer Captaincy shout isn't bad, but he hasn't really shown the consistency or the level that we saw in his breakthrough season at Chelsea under Maurizio Pochettino. So I'm personally going to say no. But yeah, João Pedro or Palmer can still work fairly well on Tuesday, even if they are eliminated in the end. Hincapié or Cancelo, I'm also conflicted about this one. I think long-term Cancelo is better. He's also going to offer you more goal-scoring potential, but Hincapié has the assist threat, I should say the clean sheet potential and the ball recoveries. Not so much of assist, despite the one he got on Saturday. Okay. Yeah, going to do that one. So that's one poll. So let's go to this super chat here. Thank you, Ahmad. I did something silly. Bought in Haikin to replace the Bayern goalkeeper, not realizing he plays on the same day as Raya. Start Haikin or Raya? I'd start Raya. Arsenal are top of the clean sheet odds, 51% probability, and ultimately it's about what you think, not just looking at numbers and being a nerd. But I think Arsenal have a good chance, and that's why I might even triple up on the Gunners defensively with Saliba or Piero Hincapié. But it's a good question, and you've got to be very careful about Tuesday, Wednesday goalkeepers. I always say this, and yeah, I think it's a good thing that you've noticed it, and now I would start David Raya. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and in the live chat, I should say. Okay. Let's see how this poll is going. Oh, wow, it's really close. Really, really close. Didn't expect that. Yeah, I don't think Kane will start, no. I've been very consistent. Gyökeres or Diaz? I do like Gyökeres a lot, but I think I'm going to go for Diaz. I'm going to sell Elise, mate. Thank you for the super chat. Let me go through this. Hola, Dylan. Weird match day last one. All my alternatives performed. Please suggest replacement for Kane. Szoboszlai, Timber. I wouldn't sell Szoboszlai. I'd keep him. Should I keep Palmer? How about Fede Doué? Doué will likely be on the bench. Now, we've seen in the last couple of match days that PSG midfielders have produced massive hauls, like Doué back in match day 9 and Kvaratskhelia in match day 11, but I'd keep Szoboszlai. I would sell Harry Kane to one of Gyökeres, Alvarez, or Diaz. I'm looking at Diaz at the moment. And to replace Timber is pretty much the options in the poll, and even Hincapié is another shout, but it depends who you've got already. Gabriel is one of my standout options in general, but I would say maybe another Arsenal defender like Saliba or João Cancelo. That would be my top pick. Even Van Dijk is still decent. Yes, I will be using all free transfers because you can't roll them. It's not like if I use 2, I can have 6 in match day 13. No, you're going to have 3 now and 5 in the first leg of each round, and that pattern repeats until the end of the season. So the answer is yes, I'll be using all of them. I'm not completely sold on captaining Gabriel, and remember, I haven't made my transfers yet. Once I do, that's where I could change things up a little bit. But yeah, remember, we do have the Wednesday option as well tomorrow, and I can go a little bit different with the Tuesday captain. It's not a big deal for me. Is auto sub better than manual sub? No. In UCL Fantasy, it's always better to be in control of your substitutions. So you start your Tuesday players and you put some Wednesday options on your bench. After the Tuesday games have completed, you take them off for those yet to play on the Wednesday. That also means you captain a player featuring on Tuesday first before you then go to the Wednesday options if needed. I think O'Reilly will start in the midfield and Aït-Nouri will be the left back. Mbappe will not start, no. And I don't think Harry Kane will either. Bodo will score. Yeah, I think Bodo will score. Will they win again? Possibly. But yeah, that's something I need to look at with my Predict 6 scoreline. I would go for Diaz over Ekitike. Thank you, Zodiac. There's no Kane news per se, but every lineup I've seen doesn't have Kane in there. So yeah, he's not injured anymore, but with both Diaz and Jackson suspended in the Bundesliga, what we're going to probably see is Harry Kane will start in the next league game, and those two players will start in the Champions League. Osimhen to Gyökeres, Elise to Fermin Lopez, Timber to Konate. Looks decent overall. I'm a bit unsure about Konate though. He was benched over the weekend to give him a rest, but yeah, Liverpool are second in the clean sheet odds, so not a bad pick. But yeah, I do like Gyökeres, and Fermin Lopez is a bit of an interesting one. He is a suspension risk. I would rather go for Rafinha, who scored a hat-trick on Sunday, but yeah, it's still a decent transfer. But I'm unsure about Konate. Yeah, so just to make this very clear, I have said this quite a few times in the stream. So for the second leg, which we're in right now, we get 3 transfers. And then for the first leg of each stage, we get 5. That pattern will repeat until the end of the season. And we've seen this even in the previous format. So the answer to your question is yes. But, well, for this week, by the way, this match day. But for next week, it's going to be 5 transfers, just to make that very clear. Trent or Saliba? It's going to be Saliba. I don't think Madrid keep a clean sheet. Then again, I said that last week. But yeah, thank you for this super chat, and also to Haribo. It was a pleasure. Orbig could still start. I would keep him. Don't sell Orbig in my opinion, but I'd be more open to selling Ruggeri. Now, I completely understand this because Ruggeri will start for Atletico Madrid, whilst with Orbig there is a doubt. But I would keep the Bayern Munich goalkeeper for one more match day and focus on selling Ruggeri instead. I know what other 2 transfers I want to make, but not sure if replacing Orbig is worth a transfer. Well, if it's free, then yes, it would be worth it. But I think Tottenham will score against Atletico Madrid, and Bayern have a chance of a clean sheet, in my opinion. And Orbig will start if he's fit. It all depends on the tests. So there is an element of risk by keeping him, and you could be down to 14 players, but I would keep Orbig and sell Ruggeri in this case. Barnes or Gordon out for Yamal or Rafinha in? Well, Barnes was player of the match last time out, but I probably would sell Barnes. Barnes out for Yamal. That can go either way. And that goes for the player you sell and the player you bring in, because Rafinha scored a hat-trick on Sunday. Yamal has been more consistent over the course of the season, and Gordon has been the best fantasy asset alongside Grimaldo with 88 points. But Barnes has his moments, but I think Gordon is more likely to score or assist in this game. And with Yamal Rafinha, it is a coin toss, but I would go for Yamal because Rafinha hasn't really been at the same level this season in the Champions League. Chelsea PSG, what do you think? High scoring game. I think either a draw or or PSG win. I don't think Chelsea will win, no. Do you think Seinof will start? No. And I went through all the predicted lineups earlier, and he started over the weekend against Getafe, whilst Lookman and Alvarez were on the bench. So yeah, I don't think Seinof will start. Kane to Alvarez or Diaz? I'm leaning towards Diaz right now. What about Osimhen? One of the best forwards in the game, but I'm not going to buy him now against Liverpool away. I'd rather buy Diaz. Gatomo or Cancelo? Cancelo. Hincapié or Saliba? It's close, but probably Saliba. I would sell Kane personally because in every lineup I've seen he's not starting. It is still risky though, and off the bench he can still produce a return, but that's my current thinking. Do you think a -4 is worth replacing Kane for Haaland? I'd only do that if you're either looking to captain Haaland or you're so bullish on him to produce a return. But instead of Haaland, there's Diaz, there's Gyökeres, Alvarez. Those are the top forwards in my opinion. Welcome Falcon, hi from Dubai. Who to replace Kane with? What about Doué? Doué will likely be on the bench. However, we saw him produce, 20 points the last time he was benched? And that was back in Matchday 9, or at least it was a really big return. He got 3 goal contributions in that game. So yeah, I think Doué is still a decent option, but he is not in the predicted lineup, and I don't like buying a player who is probably not going to start. In terms of replacing Kane, I mentioned a few names just now and throughout this stream, so I'm going to stick with those names. Gyökeres, Alvarez, and Diaz. For one match day only, I'd probably go for Diaz. Should I sell Kane or Doué? I'd sell Kane. The thing is, they're both probably going to be on the bench, and we could see cameos for both. But yeah, I think Doué could score a goal in a brief cameo. Lewandowski, not for me. I think Rafinha and Yamal are the best Barca attackers. Even Fermin Lopez would be ranked higher as well. Enzo Fernandez, captain. I wouldn't do that, but he did score in the first leg. Martinelli is a good pick. I'm very conflicted about the Elise replacement, so I can sort of relate to that. No, Mamardashvili will not start. Alisson made his return over the weekend, so Alisson will start again. Opinions on Osimhen, yeah, covered. One free transfer left. Use it on Doué to Kvaratskhelia or Urbik to Garcia. Probably Doué to Kvaratskhelia, but that can go either way. So it could be a massive swing in your favour or against, but I think that's the transfer with the highest upside. Szoboszlai starts midfield or right back. Midfield, I think Frimpong will be the right back. You think a -4 is worth it? Covered, mate. Thank you very much. If you... what was that? Saka or Salah? Salah. I think Saka could be benched. Yeah, exactly that, Awali, but thank you. The Johnny says, I would say Gnabry will be the main man today. Possibly, but Diaz's form is incredible. So that's the one I'm looking at. If you have Osimhen, sell or keep. Yeah, very difficult one. Not clear-cut either way, but I think I'd rather keep. And that does depend on the rest of your squad. Do you have a spare transfer? Because I wouldn't mind Osimhen to Diaz for one match day only. And then you can sell Diaz again in the future. I still think Galatasaray will be eliminated, but it's not clear-cut because Liverpool are very shaky this season. But yeah, I think Diaz, Gyökeres, and maybe Haaland is the best front three for this match day. Sell Tar and buy Frimpong? No. I think Tar will start. And Bayern are third in the clean sheet odds. Liverpool are second, but I wouldn't sell all your Bayern defenders. And Urbik will likely start in goal. So if you have him, my recommendation is to keep Urbik, even though it all depends on the fitness test there. So that can go either way. Frimpong, good shot for Timber? Possibly, but Frimpong isn't great for ball recoveries. He could be subbed off early, and I think there are better defenders elsewhere, like Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, Bacho, Gabriel, Saliba, Hincapié, Jonathan Tah, Van Dijk, Joao Cancelo. I think all of them are better. So yeah, Saliba or Cancelo, that's one of my big decisions this week. I'm leaning towards Saliba at the moment, but that could easily change because tripling up on any team defensively is always a massive risk. Hello, Dembele, Saka, Hincapié, or Gyökeres, Kvaratskhelia, Saliba? I would go for Gyökeres, Kvaratskhelia, and Saliba. Yeah. Good trios in general, but that would be my recommendation. Captain for today, from those three players, I would probably say Kvaratskhelia. Very close, though, between him and Vinicius. Doing Kane to Alvarez looks fine. Close second is Dembele. Yeah, there are plenty of options, to be fair. I think the other one would be Diaz. I also like Gyökeres a lot for this match day. Yeah, best Elise replacement. I don't know who you've got already, but Rafinha would be a nice one. Ahmed says Hauger, Harry Kane, Haaland, Szoboszlai, Elise. So any advice? Well, Oblak is out. So is Elise, and Kane will likely be benched. The same goes for Doué. So I would sell those players. You don't need to take a hit, though. But I think in your situation, I would do something like Oblak to Joan Garcia. Probably Harry Kane out for one of those forwards I discussed. And then I'd sell Elise, who you could bring back in for matchday 13. And I wouldn't mind buying another Barca attacker like Rafinha to replace Elise. Gyökeres, Dembele, or Ekitike? Gyökeres. I went triple Barca with Yamal, Rafinha, and Lopez. I think it will pay off. It could. I've got a double up. I'm fine with it. I think adding a third, it's a bit like the Arsenal situation at the back. It does seem a bit excessive, but I certainly get the appeal. That's for sure. I have the same team, but Dembele, Kane, Diaz, and Valverde, Cancelo, and Rafinha. Yeah, looks good though. I like the players you've got. But yeah, I think Kane won't start. I went through the predicted lineup for Bayern from UEFA and also the Sky Sports Germany one. So I have gone through that a few times already. So maybe later on I'll do it once more. But yeah, that's already been covered. Gyökeres, Kvaratskhelia, or Gabriel as captain. I'm going to go out on a whim here, on a limb, and say Gyökeres. I like all of them, though. Fine margins. No worries, Haribo. Thank you very much for the questions and the super chats. Any strong opinions on Rafinha, Kvaratskhelia, Cancelo, Hincapié? I think for this match day, Rafinha would be the preference. I think Barca, well, they have to win. They know what they have to do. PSG could afford to sit back. Even if subconsciously they want to attack and score goals, they might still think in the back of their mind, we've got a lead to defend, and their approach will be different for the second leg. So I'd go for Rafinha. And another thing that separates the two is the fact that Kvaratskhelia is a suspension risk. As for the defender question, it's very close. And ultimately, I think Arsenal are more likely to keep a clean sheet. But Joao Cancelo has many routes to points through ball recoveries, even Player of the Match award. He scored on Sunday against Sevilla in a 5-2 win. He can get assists. And I know Hincapié got an assist off the bench against Everton, but with him, you're mainly going to get clean sheets and ball recoveries, which is absolutely fine. But it's just a question of what you've got already. And I think a lot of us will have Raya and Gabriel. So it's either tripling up on Arsenal defensively or doubling up on Barcelona. And that's where things become very difficult. Do you go all in on one team defensively or hedge your bets a little bit? So I'll talk about my final decision for that one. But I think Cancelo is the better UCL fantasy asset in the long term. So, thanks you to Andrés. Hola Dylan, Lukman o Fermín López para diferencial. Fermín López para mí. Pero tenemos que decir que hay un riesgo con Fermín López porque si obtiene una amarilla más, va a estar suspendido para el próximo partido. Otros mediocampistas que me gusta, Szoboszlai. También los de París, como Vitinha, Kvaratskhelia, Martinelli. Trincao para un partido. Creo que Bodo Glimt va a perder, o por lo menos no avanzar hasta los cuartos de final, pero creo que Trincao es una buena opción. Yo tengo muchas dudas del mediocampo, digo la verdad, pero creo que esos jugadores son bastante buenos. Y también lo que tengo yo, también puede ser Vinicius, Valverde, son muy sólidos. Y quizás alguien del Bayern, como Karl o Gnabry, pero en mi caso estoy pensando en Díaz como delantero. Urbig will likely be starting a goal for Bayern Munich, but he is a doubt. And ultimately the main choice is Neuer, but he's injured. Yeah, good luck to Stupaki. We definitely did the luck for sure. Yeah, Kvaratskhelia is available. Not sure why you think otherwise. Best captain, Haaland, Vitinha or Gabriel. I have gone for Gabriel in my list, but I think Haaland's still a good shout. And that's something else that could change in my squad, by the way, the captaincy on the Tuesday. But yeah, I do like Gabriel a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is maybe quickly adjust my captaincy rankings because I think it's fair to say most outlets predict Harry Kane to be benched. They don't think he'll start. So let me quickly change that if possible. And let's see. I'm actually going to put Diaz very high up here. Yeah, let's even put him first, potentially. Is that a bit of a bumper clot? Is that crazy? Maybe. Let's find out. I'm going to put him very high, at least. So, let's put Yamal first. Debatable. So just adjusting the captaincy list quickly, and then I'll show you that one more time. And after I go through all these different sources and news and predicted lineups again, sort of highlighting the key things, yeah, after that I will be locking in my squad. Yeah, I do like Gyökeres as well, so I'm going to put him in there. Gyökeres, oof. Yes, a very close one. I'll keep Gabriel in there for now. Okay, so then Diaz, and let's put Yamal in there. There we go. Okay, that should be good. Okay. No, that's the wrong one. There you go. All right, let me end this poll as well. I did go through the official lineups for Bodo Glimt and Sporting, by the way, and I'll go through them one last time. But before I do, let's have some fun with the polls. So Saliba did win this one with 58%, and there are 1,300 people watching. I mean, yeah, the UCL Fantasy stream's always a bit crazy, so drop a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're making big strides towards 39k. Let's be sure to reach that fairly soon. Maybe today we can get very, very close. So right now we're just over 200 away. Let's be sure to close in on another milestone on the channel. And we'll do this, by the way. Every question I answer, if you're not subscribed already, then yeah, just make sure to subscribe too. That'd be greatly appreciated. But let's put the other poll. So let's put Diaz, Gyökeres, and Alvarez, who I guess will win this one, but still worth having a try. All right. Oh, this message is like halfway gone. Lookman is decent, not for the captaincy though. I think Alvarez would still be the go-to Aleti player. Thank you very much, Brian. Thanks as always from Serbia. Give the man a like. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, and it's always good to see you. Ekitike or Gyökeres? I'd go for Gyökeres. Keep or sell Palmer? Keep. For one match day only. Then he's probably a sell, because I think Chelsea will get knocked out. Hola Dylan, ¿quién crees será el portero del Bayern? Urbik. Pero está lesionado también. Van a hacer algunos... bueno, van a examinarlo y van a ver si está disponible. Pero si todo va bien, Urbik va a empezar para Bayern Munich. Okay, we've got a few other super chats as well. What do you think of Gnabry? Yeah, I would remove Upamecano. Gnabry could be a decent punt, but my favourite buying option for matchday 12 is Luis Diaz, based on his recent form. 8 goals and 3 assists out of the last 10 matches. Thank you as well to 96 to Johnny. If you've got any message, let me know in a non-super chat, and I will go through that as well. And we have hit the super chat goal, which is a massive thanks to everyone involved. Yeah, Suarez is decent. I have put Trincao in my top 10 captaincy list, but Suarez isn't too far behind. Well, once again, this is not my final team. I talked about this all stream. I'm looking at selling Harry Kane, and I think he will be benched, and every single lineup I've seen doesn't have Kane in it, so I think it's fair to say he's not going to start here. Don't risk KT for potential Madrid. Well, no, there's no need to risk him, and Diaz and Jackson are suspended in the Bundesliga, so that just reinforces the probability of Kane being benched here, so I agree with you. So don't look too much into what I've currently got, because I haven't made my transfers yet, but very soon I will do, and that's going to be very important. Yeah, exactly that. Goal completed. Vitinha or Kvaratskhelia? I do like Vitinha a lot. He's very consistent, but yeah, I'm going to say Vitinha. The reason why is because Kvaratskhelia is 1 yellow card away from suspension, and with Vitinha, you know he's going to start every single match. With Kvaratskhelia, well, we saw in the first leg, that's not a guarantee all the time. I don't think Kane will start. Could he come off the bench? Yes, he could, but even that isn't a guarantee. Should I keep Vinicius or replace with Kvaratskhelia, Gabriel, Vitinha? Keep Vitinha. Sorry, keep Vinicius. But you're talking about captaincy here, right? Because you're mentioning Gabriel in this debate. Upamecano will be benched. Yeah, exactly. I covered a quote by Vincent Kompany earlier where he talked about this, and I think it's fair to say that. If you don't have Rafinha, do you think he's the best replacement for Elise? He'd be up there after that hat-trick on Sunday against Sevilla. So he'd be one of the best options for sure, but I don't know which options you've got already. I wouldn't recommend a spoiling defender. I think Bodo Glimt will score, but Kadomo is playing as a winger, so he's out of position. That could be worth a shout. Keep or sell Kane? Sell. Upamecano against Cancelo? Upamecano will likely be benchmate, so Cancelo. Looking at who Atletico Madrid rested weekend, I think they go strong. Bayern could go a lot weaker looking at the team versus Leverkusen. Agreed. But I think Diaz and Jackson will start, and I think they're worth a look for sure. I got one more free transfer to spend. What about doing Oblak to Alisson? Looks fine. And Liverpool are second in the clean sheet odds, which I'm going to show you fairly soon. And thanks once again to the admins for keeping things flowing. But yeah, I think all the information I could possibly get from Twitter and stuff, I've basically relayed to you. So now it's just about, yeah, covering what's already been covered for those who are new around the channel, who are tuning in now. So if you haven't already, join my UCL Fantasy Mini League. The code is SEINOF. There is an auto-join link in the description. And these are my predictions for Predict 6. Arsenal 2, Leverkusen 0. Man City 3, Real Madrid 1. Chelsea 2, PSG 2. I did make this before the first leg, to be fair, so I might need to change a few of these. Barcelona 4, Newcastle 1. Tottenham 1, Atletico Madrid 2. And Liverpool 3, Galatasaray 1. I'll go to quiz, by the way, when the deadline locks in, because it's quite a lot of fun, actually. But these are the polls I put out on my channel. And which of these forwards would you pick for Matchday 12? Well, Erling Haaland is second, just ahead of Gyökeres, but Alvarez is the clear victor. For the Tuesday captaincy, I put these 4 players in the mix. Kvaratskhelia is the winner, with Gabriel having a quarter of the votes. And Vinicius Jr. is third. And this is one of my big dilemmas as well. Which defender to buy to replace Ruggeri? But most of you are voting for an Arsenal defender. But Joao Cancelo is still getting a decent number of the votes with 30%. So this is one predicted lineup for Real Madrid. And I'm not going to read it out, basically, because, yeah, I went through it on UEFA.com, which I might go back to very shortly. But it's what you would expect. Mbappe will likely be on the bench. I believe Carreras and Bellingham will also be in the squad. And these are the predicted lineups as well from the same outlet, Marca. And yeah, no real surprises from either team. Musiala is out of tomorrow's game, and that boosts the chances of Carl, who is a budget midfielder in UCL Fantasy, starting once again. And this was a question about the goalkeepers, and company said it depends on the medical examinations, but if things go as expected, Urbig will start. And otherwise, they'll have to find another solution, and that would be Leonard Prescott. This is the predicted lineup for Bayern Munich. So Jonas in goal, Biskov, Kim Min-jae, Tah and Stanisic, Pavlovic, Goretzka, Diaz, Gnabry, Karl and Jackson up front. And he was asked about resting Upamecano and Lima because they're 1 yellow card away from suspension. And he basically reiterated the logical factor. And yeah, just pretty much saying it's something that he could do for tomorrow's game. This is a PSG predicted lineup, no surprises there, but Doué would be the notable absentee. And for Atletico Madrid, this was their 11 in training ahead of their match against Tottenham, according to the source Mundo Deportivo. And this is a Galatasaray predicted lineup. There are 2 main changes compared to UEFA's version, which is mainly on the right-hand side. So UEFA think that Noah Lang and Sasha Boey will start, whilst this has gone for Sane and Shalai. And let's quickly go through these lineups again. So obviously we know Sporting and Bodo Glimt, which I'm going to show you again in just a few minutes. For Chelsea PSG as well, pretty much what you would expect. Obviously Reece James is a massive blow there for Chelsea. He's out for the next couple of weeks with a hamstring problem. And I went through all the suspensions and injuries. And if we look at PSG's lineup, it's exactly what I just showed you with a different outlet. And for Man City, Real Madrid, the exact same thing. I think both of their teams look fairly locked in, but we can always get a surprise, especially from Pep Guardiola. For Arsenal Leverkusen, we could see something like this, and Mosquera is the likely Timber replacement at right back. And then for tomorrow's matches, we could see Ferran Torres start and Lewandowski could be benched, but my favourite options would be in the midfield, Yamal, Rafinha, and Fermin Lopez, probably in that order, and Joao Cancelo is definitely worth a look after getting 3 goal contributions out of the past 5 matches. For Newcastle, Anthony Gordon could start up front. Harvey Barnes was the hero in the first leg. And Liverpool Galatasaray, Alisson would return in goal, Frimpong at right back, and that means Szoboszlai could play further forward. And for Galatasaray, they've got a lot of suspension risks, and Osimhen would lead the line once more. And for Bayern Atalanta, No Harry Kane in this predicted lineup, but Diaz and Jackson could be great attackers for this game. Even Gnabry would be a shout as a differential, and Jonathan Tah could start with Upamecano on the bench. And for Atalanta, a big boost for them is De Ketelaere in the lineup. He is the best asset they have to offer by quite some distance. And for Tottenham, Atletico Madrid, yeah, that lineup for Atletico is identical to what I just showed you. And I also went for a Spurs lineup earlier, and it does resemble that quite well. We could see Danso start as well, but that isn't a guarantee. And of course, Richarlison is suspended. And these are the lineups for the early kickoff. So Reece Silva, Fresneda, Quaresma, Gonzalo Inacio, Araujo, Hjulmand, Morita, Catamo, Francisco Trincao, Pedro Gonçalves, and Luis Suarez. And for Bodo Glimt, Heikin, Bjorkan, Gunderson, Bjortoft, Jovold, Brunstad Fett, Berg, Evgen, Hauger, Hugh, and Blomberg. And I'm going to let this play whilst I'm, doing some polls in the background and things like that. But Diaz is winning this vote as well, 43%. Gyökeres is last, but it's very close between him and Alvarez there for that second spot. I'm going to put a midfielder poll. That's what I'm interested in, because I think anybody could come in to replace Elise. So let's go for Trincao as a one matchday punt. I think Martinelli is still a good option, to be fair. Yeah, Declan Rice, I think he's better in FPL, to be fair. In UCL Fantasy, we saw signs of it last season. 2 incredible free kicks against Real Madrid, but I don't think I'd go for Declan Rice right now. Maybe I'm underselling him a little bit. He can get a few ball recoveries and he can get plenty of assists, especially from set pieces, but I think it's also a question of there are better midfielders elsewhere in UCL Fantasy, like Vitinha, who is also on penalties. Kane, Elise, and Upamecano out for. Diaz, midfield I'm very open about, but Rafinha would be up there. Defensively, an Arsenal option, or Joao Cancelo. All right, so yeah, also I'm well aware that the messages won't pop out in this screen. That is intentional, just so they don't interfere with the graphics. But yeah, we've literally got, 30 minutes left. So let's lock things in. Okay, yeah. Okay, this should all be good. Yeah, and what I'm going to show you now is the odds. And yeah, towards the end, you're going to see the updated captaincy list, which is going to help a lot of people who are asking about the captaincy right now. Let's get the likes up, by the way. We've got over 1,000 people watching still. Let's get the likes up to 300. And also subscribe if you haven't done so already. That means you can put questions through to the live chat and I'll be answering them quick fire very shortly. So a big up to the community and all the support you've shown with all my UCL Fantasy content over the years. I've been covering this for 6 years now at this point, and it's always a pleasure discussing the Champions League with you. So it's just worth, wait, what? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, forgot that's going to happen. Let's export this quickly. I'll sort this out quickly. So apologies for that. Bloody hell. Okay. Captains. This will almost be sorted. And then, yeah, we can discuss it because Harry Kane is no longer number 1 in my captaincy list. We can forget about that. it looks like he's not going to start again in the Champions League. So there we go. Yamal is first, Diaz second, Rafinha third, Alvarez fourth. I think Gyökeres has a genuine shout here to be in the top 10. He could even be as high as fifth. I've gone for Gabriel here. Kvaratskhelia, Haaland, Vinicius, Szoboszlai and Trincao make up a very decent top 10. Maybe I could get a bit of, yeah, let's say revenge. Maybe revenge is not the right word, but I could have like a nice story coming full circle with Trincao because I didn't go from him match day 1. That resulted in a massive swing against me. Maybe he can give me some points even if Sporting are eliminated against Bodo Glimt. So yeah, I'm quite happy and keen to potentially get Trincao in the midfield. And that's going to be my next poll on the channel. He hasn't been great in the last 3 matches. He has blanked in them, but he has been Sporting's most consistent player over the course of the season, and we've seen that in the Champions League. He has almost 60 points here, so still a decent option in the grand scheme of things. So who would you place Elisa with? Trincao, Martinelli. Let's go to the other options too. Let's go to the transfer section now, because I want to lock these in as early as possible. Valverde, I'm going to put Kvaratskhelia in here. He's still worth it. Vitinha too. Okay. And we'll put Vitinha in there. I think that's probably what I'd go for. Martinelli. Yeah, well, let's put him in there. If I already have Fermin Lopez, do I sell him for Rafinha? Sorry, my chat is bugged out a little bit. It's a bit annoying. Or just keep Fermin Lopez and invest elsewhere? Yeah, that's a difficult one. I mean, it depends on the rest of your 50-man squad, Mina, but probably not. I do like Rafinha for this match day, and the hat-trick on Sunday has definitely put a lot of attention on him, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's really worth that move. Well, the penalty taker for Bayern in Kane's absence would likely be, well, Kimmich is a shout, actually. It is a shout, but I still think Jackson would take it. I'm going to have a look and see, but hopefully people in the live chat, well, already know the answer. I mean, we're used to Harry Kane scoring from penalties all the time, but yeah, I think Kimmich is definitely up there. I think Musiala was the main one, but he's out. So yeah, apart from those two, I think it's wide open. Maybe Diaz? I wouldn't be surprised if Diaz is up there as well. Is Kane really out? Well, he's not officially ruled out, but I don't think he'll start. Yeah, Kvaratskhelia 1 yellow card away from suspension. Exactly that. Kvaratskhelia or Rafinha? Saludos, Dylan. Rafinha, para esta jornada. Kimmich is suspended as well. Yeah, he is. So is Elise. So that's what I mean. Harry Kane is probably going to be benched. 2 of the other main penalty takers, or the ones who'd be up there, suspended. So I think it's going to be one of Diaz or Jackson. Difficult to say who, but I think Diaz might be more likely, dare I say. Gabriel's a captain. That's my current option. But yeah, it's a bit weird to captain a defender, right? It really is. And by the way, think of it this way. If you have a double up in the Arsenal defence like I do, but you're if you're captaining Gabriel, you're technically tripling up on the Arsenal defence. And if you buy in Saliba, then you're quadrupling up, which is a bit crazy. So I think that could influence the way I go about things. So if I end up buying Saliba, what I might end up doing is captaining Erling Haaland and hedging my bets a little bit, because I think a quadruple up in the Arsenal defence is crazy. So I'm going to have to make that very clear as we approach the Matchday 12 deadline. But yeah, Kvaratskhelia is winning this vote quite comprehensively. I'll be honest, I'm very tempted by Trincao. I really am. Yeah, I think Salah will start, but not a big fan of him right now. You can't roll transfers only in the group stage. Exactly that. It's covered in my How to Play UCL Fantasy video, and that has been the case since UCL Fantasy started. Hola Dylan, Saka, Salah o Martinelli o Gnabry. Gnabry. Me gusta Gnabry. Sí, es una opción en el medio campo. Con Saka no sé si va a empezar el partido. Creo que Madueke puede empezar por la derecha. Y Arsenal tiene una final en el Carabao Cup contra City este domingo. Salah sabemos que puede hacer, pero en esta temporada está jugando bastante mal. Así que para mí es entre Martinelli o Gnabry. Creo que para mí es más probable que voy a comprar a Martinelli, pero también es porque yo voy a comprar a Díaz como delantero. Eso es mi plan. Gyökeres is a good captaincy option, yes. Doué will be on the bench. I think he will get some minutes in a short cameo like Kvaratskhelia did last time out, so he can still do well, but I don't think he starts. Harrison James has locked in his transfers, so Kane to Diaz looks good. Elise to Rafinha and Gordon to Valverde. Looking pretty good. And Valverde's in great form. He scored over the weekend in a 4-1 win over Elche. He got the hat-trick against Man City. And even in the Champions League, 5 goal contributions in the past 2 games. There's a lot of reasons why Kane could be benchmate, but Diaz and Jackson are suspended in the Bundesliga, so they're going to not play, of course, in the next league game, so Harry Kane will get the minutes there. He also just came off the back of an injury, and on top of that, you've got those two who are suspended. They're going to start in the Champions League. That leaves less room for Harry Kane to start in this competition, and most importantly of all, they're 6-1 up. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why Kane wouldn't start. Dembele or Osimhen for captain? Dembele. But remember, Osimhen is, well, yeah, I should maybe not say this. Yeah, Dembele captain. The thing is, I think there are better options elsewhere. And Dembele hasn't been great in the Champions League. I talked about this in Spanish as well earlier. But just for anyone who's wondering, make sure you captain a Tuesday player first, like he's talking about, and then you can captain a Wednesday player if necessary. Should I keep Saka or transfer to Rafinha? I'd sell him to Rafinha. I think Saka could be benched. Maybe Ekitike and Carl. Looks decent. I'd rather go for Diaz over Ekitike though. And also Gyökeres, Alvarez. I think they are better options. Meter a Valverde está bien, pero creo que no va a anotar otro hat-trick. Y te digo la verdad, no creo que va a ser un gol contra City esta vez. Hola Dylan, ¿gastarías un -4 para cambiar a Oblak? No, no lo haría. I smell big victory. For who? Thoughts on Palm as a differential? As a one matchday punt, that's fine, and that's what I would encourage people to do if you have the wildcard in your back pocket. You can buy Trincao, Erling Haaland, and these players who will likely be eliminated, but you've still got that sort of insurance policy. Thank you, Rodrigo. Saludos desde México. Luis Díaz, Hugh o Gyökeres. Me gusta mucho a Gyökeres, pero para esta jornada creo que Luis Díaz es el mejor. Is it worth transferring out Mbappe? I probably would sell him. You do get 5 transfers next match day anyway, so you've got plenty of wiggle room there. Unless you're very unfortunate, you get a lot of comebacks or surprise exits and stuff like that on top of suspensions and injuries, and that's where things can fall apart. But yeah, I would sell Mbappe. And I'd go for Diaz. Mbappe is too risky, yeah, definitely. Especially for the captaincy. I wouldn't captain him. I've gone Kane, Semenyo, Timber to Luis Diaz, Kvaratskhelia and Saliba. I could do something identical. I'm looking at Saliba and Diaz right now, and Kvaratskhelia was my main midfielder that I discussed in the team selection video, but he's also a suspension risk. I think what I might end up doing is going for Vitinha, actually. So, this is what it comes down to. But I think I am locked in. So Diaz in for Kane. I think I'm going to go for Vitinha and not Kvaratskhelia, just to be a bit safer against Chelsea. And then I can get Saliba or Joao Cancelo in that defensive line. Barcelona are not ranked very highly in the clean sheet odds, by the way. But I still like Joao Cancelo, his attacking potential. Yeah. The thing is, ultimately, I'm not going to quadruple up on the Arsenal defense. And what I mean by that is captaining Gabriel whilst buying Saliba. So if I do buy in the Arsenal defender, yeah, it's likely going to be a difference or a change in the captaincy for the Tuesday. And I think Erling Haaland would take the first armband there. But I do like Trincao. I really do, as a one match day punt. But let's break it down a little bit. So in terms of probabilities of them going through, I think Arsenal will advance, although I have my doubts. Barcelona, I think, will go through. PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. So basically, if you're looking at my team, unless Liverpool don't get the job done against Galatasaray, that's where I could be 2 players down already. Erling Haaland would be the other one. So that's 3 players who I would need to sell for the next stage. Obviously, I'd have Hauge playing Arsenal if they do go through. And I'm talking about both teams at the same time. So having that in the back of your mind about what you think is going to happen, which teams will advance to the next round, that's very important when sort of planning your future moves as well. And that's where you can afford to maybe go for a differential or possibly a player who's going to be eliminated, like Luis Suarez or Trincao, maybe Cole Palmer, and that could really work in your favour. But yeah, I do think long-term Vitinha is just a very good midfielder to have in UCL Fantasy, and that will set me up for probably 3 match days minimum, possibly even more. And I do think PSG will reach the semi-finals. So yeah, we could be talking about 5 match days with Vitinha. It's going to be a set and forget option. So yeah, I think when it comes to this, I'm probably going to go for Vitinha and Luis Diaz. And then in the defensive line, that's where the last decision remains to be seen. But we've got 50 minutes left. Be sure to lock in your teams. Don't leave it to the last seconds and minutes like I usually do, because I do focus on questions and all these different graphics and information first and foremost. But yeah, I think it's going to be that. An Arsenal defender or, yeah, possibly Joao Cancelo. And if we think about the Tuesday-Wednesday balance here, yeah, by getting Joao Cancelo, that will tilt it slightly in the Wednesday favour, as in more Wednesday players. By getting Saliba, I do have an extra Tuesday option. So I'm probably going to go on a limb here and go for Saliba, but I'm going to captain somebody else. I think that's my current plan, but still subject to change. I'm more convinced now on Diaz and Vitinha. I think that would be my sort of attacking transfers, if you will. The rest are definitely staying in, and then it's just a question of that defense. Kane por Álvarez, Hauge o Díaz. Bueno, en este momento yo tengo la misma situación y voy a ir por Luis Díaz. Tengo a Haaland y a Osimhen, gracias. Digo la verdad, me gusta mucho a Hauge y Álvarez, pero para la jornada 12 creo que Díaz está muy bien. Para el futuro creo que es una transferencia, es alguien para vender. Yeah, I know Ruggeri will start, but I just don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. And then Atletico Madrid will likely face Barcelona in the next round, so Ruggeri was only going to be in my team as a enabler, really. For the captaincy, out of those 4 players, it's going to be Gabriel. Yeah, it's going to be Gabriel. Better captain, Vinicius or Martinelli? Vinicius. Haaland and Saliba or Gyökeres and Hakimi? I'm going to say Haaland and Saliba for matchday 12, but it's very, very close. Alvarez, Rakitic or Diaz. Dembele is also thrown in there. I'm going to say Luis Diaz, but only for matchday 12. I wouldn't say Haaland's the obvious captain. Let's not forget he's been very poor recently and Man City have been off the boil, but that's my current thinking, to captain Haaland and bring in Saliba. But like I said, it's still 50-50. It's not set in stone. So this vote is very one-sided. Kvaratskhelia 50%, Vitinha 23%, Martinelli 13%. I can just see myself regretting not buying Trincao, by the way. Even if Sporting will likely be eliminated, I think he could produce a big return against Bodo Glimt. But yeah, I think Vitinha is just a logical, safer option, if you will. Kane to Suarez, Elisa to Rafinha, and Timber to Saliba or Cancelo. I'm in the same boat as you, mate. In terms of Suarez, I do prefer a few other forwards. That includes Hauger, Hugh, also looking long term. Yeah, I think Gyökeres, Diaz, Alvarez, they would all be worth it. But yeah, Rafinha's fine, and Timber to Saliba or Cancelo, it's close. I'm also having the same dilemma right now, but I'm leaning towards Saliba right now. Only just. I would go for Haaland as the captain, Luis. Es posible que Saka ni juegue o empiece el partido contra Leverkusen, porque Arsenal juega una final este fin de semana y Madueke está jugando mejor que Saka en este momento. Harry Kane will likely not start. He'll probably be on the bench, so that's why I'm selling him. Yeah, you keep... Sorry, my chat is frozen a little bit. Let's see if it starts working. I think my chat just disappeared. Just great. Yeah, you can keep Joao Pedro, but I'd probably sell him to one of those fours I keep discussing. Gyökeres, Alvarez, yeah, and Luis Diaz. Gyökeres and Suarez. Yeah, I like both of them for Matchday 12. And Gyökeres could even be a set and forget option for you for a while. Y te digo, la verdad, no me gusta mucho a Joao Pedro contra Paris Saint-Germain porque para mí Chelsea va a estar eliminado y es posible que haga un gol contra Paris Saint-Germain, pero no creo que va a anotar tantos goles o puntos como Luis Díaz o Gyökeres y todos estos jugadores que tienen un partido más fácil, digamos. I think get Trincao or Suarez. Yeah, I'm tempted. I'm tempted by Trincao. I'm not going to lie to you. But Vitinha is just like a set and forget option. So what would probably happen is, yeah, I get Trincao in. He'd be a transfer out for Matchday 13. And as long as I don't get too many bookings, like, for example, Yamal, Van Dijk and Vinicius, they are walking that suspension tightrope, so I need to be careful there. But if I can get some luck and not have any bookings, or at least not too many, then I could easily use the 5 free transfers. Obviously, injuries is another factor, but I do like Trincao for this match day. I'm really tempted to buy him in. Alvarez, Ekitike, Diaz, Dembele. Yeah, it's going to be Diaz. I covered this question already, so I'm not going to go through that again. Triple Arsenal defense, how confident are you? Like I said, it's not guaranteed. I might go for Joao Cancelo in the end. Locked in Kane to Diaz, Semenyo to Rafinha, and Elise to Vitinha. Yeah, I like that. I think all of those moves are pretty sound. Diaz or Gyökeres? Diaz, that's what I'm going for at the moment. I do like Carl's a differential, even Gnabry too, but I'm going for Diaz right now, up front. Urbig or Garcia in goal? There's a chance Urbig doesn't start, but I think he will. And I think Bayern have a slightly better chance of a clean sheet on paper, but I'm not going to buy in a Bayern defender because a lot of them might not even start for the next match day. Maybe Stanisic, to be fair. That's someone I could go for defensively. But yeah, then they're facing Real Madrid or Man City. So for this match day only, I'm going to say Urbig. Julian Alvarez or Gyökeres? Alvarez. But I do like Gyökeres. He's a good option for sure. I'll go with Martinelli captain. All the best. And if not, you've got a Wednesday option to fall back on. That's absolutely fine. I have triple Arsenal defense. Who should I captain? Other options are Haaland, Hugh, Trincao, Vitinha, Hakimi. I would captain one of Haaland or Trincao. And you saw that in my top 10 list as well. That is self-explanatory. Haaland's the safer pick, but I do like Trincao. I'm very tempted to buy him in, even if I expect Sporting to be eliminated. Thanks as well, Luis, for the super chat. I didn't see this until now. Hincapié, Vitinha, Haaland, Due, Elise y Ruggeri. O mejor dejo a Ruggeri y cambio a Kane por Díaz. Ok, entonces... Sí, está bien. Me gusta mucho. Yo también tengo a Ruggeri, pero es muy probable que voy a venderlo. Y para mí Tottenham va a anotar un gol. Y después Atlético Madrid probablemente van a jugar contra Barcelona. Y para mí no van a tener una valla invicta ahí. Así que está muy bien lo que está haciendo. Y creo que Haaland, yo sé que es muy probable que van a estar eliminados, pero él puede hacer un gol contra Real Madrid como hizo en diciembre. Así que me gusta mucho. So yeah, thanks for that, Luis. Much appreciated. Gracias. All right. This is what I'm probably going to end up doing. Yeah, so Joao Cancelo, I do like his low ownership, actually. I also don't want to jinx Arsenal, I'm not going to lie to you. So, yeah, Cancelo in. Saliba averaging 5 points per match. He got 4 against Leverkusen, 3 against Inter. I mean, it's not bad. It's just nothing spectacular, really. But, yeah, he has basically returned in most matches this season. But I am looking at Joao Cancelo. And I think Vitinha, it is the logical choice. I know that's like the best long-term move, but I'll be honest with you, I do like Trincao. I really do for this match day. So that's something else I could change here. So we've got 6 minutes left. And yeah, hopefully in the next minute or two, have everything settled. If Harry Kane plays as a goalkeeper, yeah, that's a good one. Will he get the clean sheet points? No, unfortunately not. Otherwise, he would be worth keeping. Haaland, Gyökeres o Saka de capitán? Erling Haaland. Me gusta mucho Gyökeres para hoy, pero creo que Haaland. Dembele or Saka captain? Dembele. I think Saka could be benched. Yeah, so the captaincy options, let's just go to this now. I'm going to skip through to the end. Remember, we've got a deadline in 5 minutes. It's 6:45 in Europe, but yeah, 5:45 in the UK. Let me just go back. Ooh. There you go. So I'm going to show you the clean sheet odds and the top 10 captains. I'm going for it. Yeah, I'm going to lock in these moves. So I think Diaz, Trincao, and Joao Cancelo. And I could still keep my captaincy on Gabriel, but yeah. I think I'll end up captaining Haaland. And then tomorrow it's going to be Yamal or Rafinha. I won't lie to you, I'm even tempted to captain Trincao, which might sound crazy, but stranger things have happened. Obviously, you can see Trincao 10th on my list, but I think he's a decent choice. I really do. Okay, I'm going to lock in, at least with my transfers. So let's go now to the transfer section and then to my team. There we go. We're locked in, boys. Just in case I'm going to have this in the transfer section, I don't see myself taking a hit, but there you go. I've now got 4.3 million in the bank. So let's refresh this and make sure I've got the right player starting. You don't want to have Trincao on the bench because he's playing right now. So, yeah, that's where I can bench a Wednesday player. So it doesn't really matter who. We'll put Rafinha there. Okay. And, yeah. Let's put Trincao, Gabriel, Vinicius, and Haaland. Those are the options. Well, I say this will be my final captain, but yeah, it's going to be one of those options. Suarez better captain than Trincao. He is showing better form, to be fair. Trincao hasn't been great recently, but I just want some redemption with Trincao. Kane is not 100% out, but most of the lineups don't have him in there. That's the main difference. Bring in Vitinha or Kvaratskhelia, one of them. Vitinha is a bit of a safer pick because of the suspension risk that Kvaratskhelia has, so I'm probably going to say Vitinha, but not by much. I think they're both really good. Yeah, Haaland's in poor form. I completely get that. He is in poor form. But yeah, I think Haaland could score. But is it going to be enough for Man City? Probably not. I'm going Hauge captain. Well, I've got him as well, and I do back Bodo Glimt to go through, but I think Sporting could still have a say, or at least cause some problems. So yeah, I've got both of them in there. Exactly, lock your teams in. We've literally got seconds left now. Wouldn't you say Stanisic is better than Cancelo? For this match day, yes, but I'm also thinking about long term. And because I bought Trincao in the midfield, I'm not going to buy Trincao and Stanisic because Bayern are facing Man City or Real Madrid in the next round. And yeah, I do like Cancelo against Atletico Madrid, which is the likely opponent for Barcelona. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this. Valverde or Rafinha? I'm going to go for Rafinha for this week. Gyökeres está bien, pero para mí Díaz tiene 8 goles y 3 asistencias en los últimos 10 partidos. So yeah, 8 goals, 3 assists in the last 10 games. And he's showing great form, and he's suspended in the Bundesliga, so I think he'll start here. And Gyökeres has been consistent in the Champions League, but a bit, you could say, inconsistent across all competitions. I ended up getting Joan Garcia, Diaz. Wait, have I? Yeah, just to make sure. So yeah, I've got everything sorted there. And Saka, who I captained. I think Saka could be benched, I'm not going to lie to you, and his recent form is quite concerning. So I hopefully Saka does well for you and for Arsenal's sake, but I'd be a bit concerned about that. I did captain Gabriel in the end, and ultimately I've got the likes of Yamal and Rafinha for tomorrow. But that is my final Matchday 12 squad. I made 3 transfers, and I could see myself, well, selling Trincao to a PSG midfielder or Elise in Matchday 13. And yeah, Erling Haaland would be sold to Harry Kane. I think Diaz would also be offloaded, to be fair, but yeah, I think that still looks pretty solid, and the rest could be kept. And I've got 5 free transfers at my disposal for the first leg of the next round. But yeah, we went through everything again, right? So yeah, we can close all those tabs now. And yeah, all the best of luck for match day 12. We are locked in, ready to go. I hope Trincao has a masterclass today. That would be much appreciated, that's for sure. So drop a like on the stream. We are close to 300 likes, so let's be sure to get to that. I have answered many questions today and also gone through many different bits of information, predicted lineups, team news, injury updates, you name it. And we have made big progress towards 39,000. So yeah, very soon, maybe in the next month, we can get to 39k. And after that, all our eyes will be set on a big goal, 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. And let's grow all the social media platforms. There's my Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, Dylan RCM. I'm going to show you my Predict 6 score lines very soon. And also quiz. You can see me make a fool of myself whilst the Sporting Bodo Glimt game is going on. I'm going to try and get that out in the background as well, so I can provide a bit of live commentary since we hit our Super Chat goal. And that is always, yeah, much appreciated. So let's see. Okay, I think I can get the game up here. No promises. Okay. I'm also going to end the poll. We'll see how that has gone. Gabriel did win it, 44%. Haaland second with 30. Trincao third, and Vinicius last. Interesting. Very interesting. Curious. Yeah, see you on Friday. Another quick deadline, that's what I mean. But yeah, I do have a lot of the stuff prepared. And keep your eyes peeled. If you want to see our transfer tips for Game Week 31, the best wildcard squad and my team selection, then let me know and drop a like as well on the stream. And thank you very much for the shout out there. Scenes when Barca loses with only 5 transfers with 4 players in your squads. It is what it is, mate. I don't think they're going to lose to Newcastle. Just saying. Oh, Sporting nearly scored. Bloody hell. As long as it's Trincao. And he almost scored himself, for fuck's sake. That would have been nice. Yeah, good luck as well, Summon. And all the best. Yeah, exactly. But I think Trincao has, yeah. I don't want to, you know, be salty or anything or say, oh, if I didn't have him, he would have scored. But maybe it's true. Maybe it is. Yeah, I saw that chance just now. Mamma mia. All right, let's go to the different screens. Join my UCL Fantasy Mini League, SEI, NOF. There's an auto-join link in the description for all my UCL Fantasy content, so make sure to join. For Predict 6, I've gone for Arsenal 2, Leverkusen 0. In terms of individual predictions, I've gone for Arsenal to score first. Havertz to score. Well, that depends if he actually starts. I don't think he will start, actually, so I'm going to change that. Will someone take a penalty? I've put no. Will this match go to extra time? Hopefully not, and that means Arsenal go through. For Man City 3, Real Madrid 1. Will there be a goal in the first half? Yes. Will there be 4 or more goals? Yes. Will Vinicius Jr. and Haaland both score? Probably not. Will Foden get an assist? Well, is he going to start or even play a minute? That's a bigger concern for me. So I put no. Chelsea 2, PSG 2. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm tempted to put a PSG win there, but we'll put Chelsea to score first for now, to be 1-0 up at half-time. Then Belly to score in the second half? No. Will there be a red card? Well, Chelsea are amazing at that. They'd be the best in the world at red cards, but no, I've put 0. No red cards for this game. And then for Barcelona 4, Newcastle 1. 1-0 Barca at half-time. Will Yamal score in the second half? Yeah, why not? Will there be 3 or more goals? Yes. And will someone score a penalty? Probably Barcelona, but who knows at this point. Tottenham 1, Atletico Madrid 2. I've put Tottenham to score first, just to have a bit of hope. Will Griezmann and Solanke both score in this match? No. Will there be 4 or more goals? I've put no this time. And Lookman to be player of the match. And then Liverpool 3, Galatasaray 1. Liverpool to score first. 1-0 at half-time. Will there be 1 or more goals in this match? Yes. And will there be a penalty shootout? No. I'll get to quiz very soon. Obviously, the polls I've gone through, so yada, yada, yada. And for those that missed it, these are the predicted lineups for Man City and Real Madrid. So, yeah, looking pretty decent there. And UEFA also have a very similar set of predictions. Musiala will miss the game tomorrow. And Urbig will start, but it all depends on the medical examinations. Otherwise, we could see Leonard Prescott starting for Bayern Munich. And this is the probable 11 for the Bavarians. I've got Diaz in, and hopefully he continues his fine goal-scoring form. 11 goal contributions in the past 10 matches. And I've also got Jonathan Tah in here. So that's 2 Bayern Munich players, actually. I was tempted to buy Stanisic for this match day only. And yeah, he talked about potentially benching Upamecano and Lima because of the suspension risks. This is a PSG probable lineup, and that means no Desiree Doué. And this is the likely starting 11 for Atletico Madrid. So Musso, Pubil, Lenormand, Hanko, Ruggeri, who I sold, Giuliano Simeone, Llorente, Cardoso, Lookman, Alvarez, and Griezmann. And this is the starting 11 for Galatasaray. So yeah, 2 big chances for Sporting already. And yeah, Trincao missed both of them. What is he doing? What is Trincao doing, man? Come on. You're getting the chances. Fucking take him. Oh, that could be really annoying, man. Because back in Matchday 1, he haunted me, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, I went through all these predicted lineups. Make sure to have a look as well. But yeah, all good. And unfortunately, Sporting are not leading because Trincao is having a stinker so far. So yeah, we'll get back to that fairly soon. But let's go to quiz and have a bit of fun here. Let's go for the first one, Real Madrid Man City. In which stage did Real Madrid beat Man City en route to the Champions League title in 23-24? That was the quarterfinals. How many times have Madrid and City met in the Champions League? Well, it was 15, but now it's 16. What? So what? I have to say 15 still. Okay. Which two-time UCL winner joined Man City from Real Madrid in 2017? Danilo. Who scored Man City's first ever Champions League goal against Real Madrid? Edin Dzeko, right? In which stage did Man City beat Real Madrid en route to the Champions League title? Semi-finals. Which managers coached both? Pellegrini. Which former City player currently represents Real Madrid? Brahim Diaz. Which player joined Man City from Real Madrid in 2008? Robinho. Yeah, I remember that. Match attacks. Who scored the winner in Man City's 2-1 win over Real Madrid earlier this season? Who scored the winner? Was it Erling Haaland? Wait, let's do the two shots. Oh, yeah, it's Erling Haaland anyway. Which season had the only penalty shootout between Madrid and City? 23-24. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a bit dodgy, the other one, because I'm pretty sure it's now 16 games, not 15, but we'll do that again. Why not? So yeah, Erling Haaland. Diaz, obviously, we just had these questions. 23-24. Danilo. Wait, who was Real Madrid's manager when they first met? Yeah, that was... Oh, yeah, Jose Mourinho. I was thinking of Man City for a second. Who scored the opener Man City's 2-1 win? Rodrigo. Who was the first player to represent both Real Madrid and Man City? Adebayor, right? I think it's Adebayor. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's going to be Anelka. Yeah, it's Anelka. Yeah, that's stupid. How many times have Man City beaten Real Madrid away from home in the Champions League? Twice, I think. It's twice. Who scored Real Madrid's first ever Champions League goal against Man City? Ooh. Well, if it's not Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't know who the... Maybe it's Benzema. Oh, it's going to be like Marcelo or someone, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that one. How many times have Real Madrid beaten Man City in the Champions League? Well, I'm pretty sure it's 6 now. But they're going to say 5, isn't it? Yeah, it's 6 now, I'm pretty sure. Oh well, we'll go to another quiz. Let's go to this one. Hopefully Trincao scores by the time I finish this one, but I'm asking for a lot. How many home teams will have a deficit to overturn in the round of 16 second leg? 4. I'm pretty sure it's 4. Oh, it's 5 then. Fucking hell. Which Tottenham player has the most goal contributions heading into the round of 16 second leg? Most goal contributions? I think it's Solanke. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. It's Colomwani. Oh my god, this is a stinker. Which team has conceded the fewest goals this season heading into the round of 16 second leg? Yeah, Arsenal. Which Atalanta player is suspended for the round of 16 second leg after a red card in the playoffs? Oh, but that's for the first game. Oh, it's a second leg. Scalvini. How many matches are leveled on aggregate? Newcastle, Arsenal. Yeah, so that's 2, right? Is anyone else level? I think it's 2. I'm just going to go for 2, yeah. How many teams failed to score in the round of 16 first leg? Liverpool. Man City. Ooh. I think it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but... How many round of 16 matches are leveled on aggregate heading into the second leg? Well, isn't that a similar question? Isn't it 2? Which player from the round of 16 teams has the most tackles heading into the second leg? Oh, I think it might be Tchouameni, you know? Yeah. Which Liverpool player has the most goal contributions? Szoboszlai. 8. Which team has made the most penalty saves heading into the round of 16 second leg? Is it Newcastle? I think it's Newcastle, you know? Yeah. Okay, not bad. I made up for it because that was a horrendous start. I was going 0 out of 2. But I don't do 007 out here. No. No. Alright. Enough about bloody quiz, you could say. But yeah, still 0-0, so Yeah, it's not looking great. I just found all my old match attacks the other day. I bought some new ones, I'm not going to lie. Sort of re-engaging into the, into a previous hobby of mine. Easy, relax, man. Focus on your team, yeah? 5-2 down, thank you very much. Trincao, 0.36 XG, yes, unbelievable. I saw the first chance he missed. Of course, Trincao does this when I haven't captained. Yeah. Suarez, why didn't you score? Sporting didn't score the first leg. Yeah, exactly true. It's literally staring me right in front of the face. So yeah, good point, Twister Parky. Oh! How did he not score again? Mate. This was Pedro Gonçalves this time, but Sporting should be 1-0 up. Like, they are all over Bodo Glimt at the moment, and surely it's a matter of time before hopefully Trincao is involved in the goals, but yeah, a bit frustrating to say the least. Oh. Yeah, now this can't continue. It can't go on like this, can it? Well, it can. It definitely can. Great stream again. Good luck. Thank you, Steve. Much appreciated. Had to tune in and rewind to see those chances. They were tough to get, not going to lie. He's doing great to get into those areas. All Trincao owners' patience. Yeah, it's 13 minutes, but when you go up to that sort of nice start, you have an early return, it puts your mind at ease, and then you just have the feeling it's going to be a great week. Yeah, Trincao again. I have 3-2 PSG. That's a good prediction. I might change it to something similar. I promise I'm not copying. Good luck, Dylan. Hope I break into the top 10k. Good luck there. Oogie Boogie, hopefully you do, and yeah, UCL Fantasy is very competitive, as usual, so all the best. I've yo-yoed in 15k the past 3 match days. That can be quite frustrating, but it's still a good position to be in for sure. I have a defense from Bodo Glimt. Well, right now you're very fortuitous, I'm not going to lie with you, but yeah, we'll see if they hold on to that clean sheet. But yeah, people are not particularly happy, maybe not Arnab, but the others are not happy with that Trincao miss. Did you see the betting markets odds for the second leg Champions League? Some are atrocious. Madrid got 6 for away win and Galatasaray got 10. Well, I think Liverpool will win, but the fact they dropped points against Tottenham recently, anything can happen. And Galatasaray are currently a better side than Tottenham. So, Twisted Parky says, Team Raya, Gabriel, Saliba, Hakimi. Let's see. Sorry, Sporting are distracting me. I'm just hoping for a Trincao goal. Saliba, Hakimi, Grimaldo, Gordon, Vinicius, Doué, Haug, Alvarez, Suarez captain, Urbig, Van Dijk, Yamal, Salah, Suarez, Alvarez, Saliba for Kane, Pedro and Tar. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think Tar will start, by the way, but I get that. And Arsenal do have a good chance of a clean sheet. I almost went for Saliba in the end, but I mean, I've captain Gabriel, so I am tripling up on the Arsenal defence technically, and it isn't a great feeling. Jean Miranda, maybe you're a Sporting fan, but yeah. Oh, Bodo Glimt on the counter, and that's a bad finish there. I think by Hug. Hug? Not Hug. Yeah, only one game week left in FPL until the international break. So yeah, we've got a bit of a nice rest for UCL Fantasy and FPL after this. I did Kane to Diaz, Elise to Yamal, and Grimaldo to cheeky punt Gatomo instead of Cancelo. I know it will hurt me, and Cancelo will haul. I'm not sure, mate. I mean, I think people naturally think that when they buy a player or miss out and don't do it. So I've got that similar feeling with Trincao right now. Oh, I bought him. He's going to keep on missing big chances. I didn't get Saliba. What's going to happen now? And I've got a bit of FOMO about Vitinha, actually. And, yeah, also a few others. Like, well, it could even be Gnabry or someone a bit differential like that. Sporting, again, comes relatively close. Trincao is very involved right now. So, yeah, hopefully he can just get one attack in return, mate. One goal, and I won't complain. I'm not sure if Bodo play the best football. Their matches are exciting, but that doesn't mean they play the best football in isolation. That'd arguably be Bayern Munich, actually. Or Arsenal. Sporting are craying like mad, but no goals. Yeah, they should be 1-0 up minimum. Even 2 wouldn't be, I'd say, an exaggeration. Who are you doing an impression of, then? What, all it can? Well, Mick McCarthy, I guess, but yeah, maybe it's not the best one. Suarez owes me. He was toilet in Game Week 1. Yes, I also went for Suarez and Pedro Gonçalves, and yeah, they both let me down big time. I was going to say something else, which was less PG. Bodo's score will be closing the door for Sporting. Yeah, but if the game continues the way it is right now, I think Sporting will score a couple of goals. Low-key think Gala versus Paul will be 3-2 Liverpool, extra time and pens. Well, that's not too good for my Van Dijk defensive pick, but I think that's reasonable. Osimhen could definitely score in this game, but I don't think his ceiling will be particularly high. Falcon says, hi, I was trying to write you. Are we blocked from Dubai? No. You put a few questions in and I answered them. So you're not blocked, but there is like, well, is there a limit? I'm not sure, but I do sometimes have like the slow mode on, or at least just something to prevent people from just spamming and sending one message after the other constantly. So that could be the possible hiccup there that you experienced. Are you regretting making a -4 for Ekitike and Pedro? Not really, because it gives me extra bodies for Blank Gemic 31. If Haaland scored against West Ham, then my answer would be different. If Trincao gets 1 goal, would you stick or twist? Well, it depends really, because that could also result in play of the match, but based on the way you phrased it, we're talking about 7 or 8 points. Would I switch? I'd probably hold with 7 or 8 points at this point. Wow, Bodo owners, we had a great counter of a limp shot. Well, I've got Hauger, but yeah, apart from that, I've got no investment in Bodo Glimt. Liverpool need to be deducted points for drawing against Spurs. Yeah, well, let's see if you do the job against Tottenham, end of the season. Do you relegate them? Maybe Spurs will be safe by then, to be fair, but yeah, funny times. International break will not be great for me, especially the case versus FIFA is losing. I don't care anymore. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people disillusioned with either international football or with their current club, and many Chelsea fans I speak to are just absolutely sick of Clearlake and the way Chelsea are run at the moment. Trincao looking so good, need more Suarez. Yeah, if only we got points for looking so good, but look, ultimately it could point towards a good pick, but maybe a bad outcome. It's still very early on though. If this continues, I'd be shocked if Sporting don't score and if Trincao doesn't get a return, but yeah, Big Mick, lol, funny quote. It is. It's iconic in the football world. I wouldn't mind a Suarez and Trincao brace for both of us, but Bodo still go through. Yeah, as long as Arsenal go on to beat whoever they face next, yeah, I'm fine with that. But that's... let's get there when... Yeah, one step at a time, because Arsenal need to beat Leverkusen today first. I have Galatasaray advancing over Liverpool. I almost went Dembele because of long-term haul potential, but equally injury-prone. Yeah, Dembele... He just hasn't been at it in Champions League this season. Only 2 goals, I believe, if not 3. He scored against Leverkusen, of course, and in the recent game against Chelsea, but very underwhelming. I was so bullish on him in the knockout phase playoffs, and he let me down big time, but there was some bad luck involved with the injury. There'll be a party in Bodo tonight. Well, you keep saying this, but they aren't playing particularly great right now, mate. I mean, if they were playing against the Bayern Munich, they'd be 3-0 down by now, to be quite honest with you. I think whoever loses Forest versus Spurs go down. West Ham still got a hard run, but Bowen to save him. Bowen has been very consistent. I was actually thinking of maybe highlighting him in an upcoming video because consistency is very difficult to find, even in the forward line right now. Liverpool deducted their own points in that game already. Yeah, that is true. Would Griezmann get bonuses for looking good or minus points? Depends. It depends how you view him. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. Lost because the player representing Malaysia is fake. Well, that sounds crazy out of context. Wow, wow. I don't know what to say to that. How can you have a fake player? Yeah, let's go to another quiz. Is this the season so far? I've already done this, haven't I? But yeah. Who scored the late equaliser for Juventus against Dortmund on Matchday 1? I think it was Lloyd Kelly. Yes, come on. Which Bodo Glimt player received a red card against Monaco? Ooh. Wow, okay. I got it first time. That was a fluke. Who assisted Newcastle's goal against Barcelona in the round 16 first leg? Shit. I actually should know this. Jacob Murphy. Yeah. Who missed the penalty during the Bayern Munich Union Saint-Gilloise match on Matchday 7? Harry Kane. He missed the penalty. Who was the player of the match in the Benfica-Napoli game on Matchday 6? Oh, Richard Rios. Oof, okay. Come on. Which American player scored the most goals in a single Champions League edition? I'm going to go for Pulisic, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, it's not. Which Juventus player scored 2 goals against Galatasaray in the knockout phase playoffs first leg? Kubinas. Who provided the assist for Juventus in the 1-1 draw against Sporting Lisbon? I think it was Thuram. Who scored Real Madrid's last goal in stoppage time versus Kara Almaty? Well, Mbappe scored a hat-trick, but I think it was Brahim Diaz. Hey. Who scored an own goal in the Bodo Glimt Tottenham game? Van der Ven. No! It was Bergvall, wasn't it? I answered that way too quick, but hey, still, not bad. Not bad. If only Trincao can get me that many points. But yeah, let me stop. I think we don't need to force it. Just calma. No. I'm so happy. If you know, you know. That's from December. Just a little spoiler alert. How many Premier League teams do you think advance to Arsenal and Liverpool? I'd probably be more confident in Liverpool, actually. But my best ever rank in UCL Fantasy, well, I finished in the top 800 twice. I need to check which one was slightly higher. So let me just have a look. I've got it all noted down somewhere. Fantasy records? I don't know what I... Let's see. UCL Fantasy, 837 in the 23-24 season. And I also finished 878th in the 21-22 campaign. Trincao, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but I'm a bit frustrated to say the least. It might not be his day. Nah, I'm confident that won't happen, Wei-Sing. I'd be more concerned about Chelsea, to be fair. Chelsea get a transfer ban. Yeah, I mean, not too surprised. We've seen that before for Chelsea. What about Man City? We'll find out if they ever do get punished, which I doubt. Trincao again. Damn, nearly got him for Doué instead of Suarez. Yeah, well, either way, they're both blanking, so same outcome. I've been looking up Bowen for Haaland this week. Yeah, I mean, I've got Ekitike, Joao Pedro, Thiago, so I'm kind of set with that front three, but if I still had a forward move to make, I think Bowen would be up there. I've given up on FPL this season. It has been, and I'll be honest, like, when I'm looking at the options, it's so uninspiring. It's like, this guy, it's like, who is less worse? It's like when you're voting for an election. You're like, who's the lesser evil? Does that even exist? Let's find out after the break. But when it comes to FPL, it's just, yeah, not like seasons gone by where you seem like you have a lot of options, even if the swings go against you or another option appears. You've actually got choices. I just don't think we do in FPL this season. It's very, very bizarre. What do you think with his... What? I don't know why for a second I read that as Gabriel Jesus. But yeah, my brain is fried at the moment. Falsified documents in the highest up outside the association. Where is Man City's ban? Well, that's a good question, mate, but there you go. Will you be streaming until the lineups in 35 minutes? Probably not, to be fair. And I do need to eat and, yeah, chillax a little bit. I've been streaming for, what, the past 2.5 hours at this point? Yeah, Trincao has been very disappointing so far, and hopefully he can get something, but Trincao's rushing his chances, but Bodo's backline is so compact and holding up well. Fun watch. The thing is, I think Sporting are creating a lot of chances, though, and Bodo Glimt don't have a great defence, but what Bodo are very threatening from are counterattacks, and their forwards and midfielders are doing a very good job there, but defensively I still think they aren't particularly solid. It's a youth team transfer ban, 2 years probation for the first team, I believe. Yeah, I think that's more accurate. Even though Chelsea's 11 is basically a youth team at the moment. That's the policy, buy young and make a profit, I guess. But it's not particularly great. But yeah, Trincao. Sorry, it's just like, yeah, Chelsea's transfer ban. But Trincao, what are you doing? So frustrating, man, because this could easily be a 17-pointer like we saw in Matchday 1. That was such a kill at the time. I'm not even expecting 17 points, but he could have easily produced that by now. But it is what it is. We're finished. Don't care about us. I don't care, mate. I'm just asking you to care about yourself. You seem quite preoccupied with Arsenal. Just saying. But maybe I'll have one more crack at the quiz. Let's see if I can get 100% and show off a little bit. Why not? This is the toughest one, though. Who's the player of the match in Club Brugge Atletico Madrid in the knockout phase first leg? Or Vanaken? Who scored an own goal in the Tottenham Villarreal match? That was a Villarreal player. I think it was Mourinho. No, you idiot. Which team won its first home game on Matchday 8 and qualified for the knockouts? I think it's... No, not Karabag. Was it? No, it wasn't Karabag. Oh, yeah, I can't remember that one. Who scored Napoli's first goal in the 2-0 win over Karabag on Matchday 5? McTominay. Yeah. Who scored an own goal in the Bodo Glimt Tottenham match? Okay, let's actually get this right. Oh, it was one of these two. Bjortov or Gunderson? There's Gunderson then. Fucking hell. I got all of them wrong with that one. Who scored a last gasp winner for PSG Barcelona? I think it was Mayulu. No, I got that wrong. Was it Nuno Mendes? Yeah. Who scored a brace for Dortmund against Bodo Glimt? I don't know this one. That's Brunt. Yeah. Which Bodo Glimt player received a red card against Monaco? Surely not Gunderson as well. It's going to be one of these two, Berg or Oakland. Let's go for Berg. Yeah, whatever. This is my worst one ever. Who did Club Brugge beat in Matchday 8 to secure their knockout berth? Marseille. Yeah, okay, at least I got that one right. Who missed the penalty during Bayern Munich, Union Saint-Gilloise? Harry Kane. Oh my god, that was my... Ugh. That doesn't feel good. Let's play again. So I'm just going to keep playing this until I get it right. And hopefully Trincao scores. Who gave PSG an early lead against Newcastle Matchday 8? It wasn't Dembele. I think... Yeah, Vitinha. Whose late goal... Wait, what? Oh, that's a glitch. Because I literally answered it in time. What are you doing, you little twat? I've got to refresh it now. Fuck's sake. All right. Who scored his 200th goal for Atletico de Madrid? That would be Griezmann then. How many matches on Matchday 3 saw 5 goals or more being scored? 5. Oh, 6, you twat. Who was the Tottenham... What player of the match? Tottenham Dortmund game. I think Romero. No, it's going to be Bodo then. Fuck off. Which Barca player was sent off against Chelsea on Matchday 5? Araujo. I remember that. Who assisted Arsenal's first goal of the season? Trossard for Martinelli. Yeah, the two super subs. Who scored the 2 penalties in Newcastle's win versus Union Saint-Gilloise? Gordon. Whose penalty was saved in the Madrid City round of 16 first leg? Vinicius. Which team registered the most goals on Matchday 1? Sporting. I think it was Sporting. No. Oh, shit. Probably Frankfurt then. I can't remember that. Who came off the bench to score a late winner for Atalanta against Marseille? Ip dip do. The cat's got the food, the dog's got the chicken box. Out goes you. Let's go for Darun. No, it's going to be Smarasic probably. Which Arsenal player hit the bar against Leverkusen in the round of 16 first leg? Martinelli. Anything Arsenal, just ask me and that'll boost my score up. But yeah, anything else? Yeah, a bit dodgy. Dodgy ball knowledge, mate. And, oh my god, I don't want to look at Trincão's stats, but 2 big chances missed, 0.49 XG, 5 shots. 4 big chances for Sporting, and it's still 0-0. It's not looking good, bruv. It is not looking good. All right, let me just keep doing this one. Most difficult. Who scored twice from outside the box in the Marseille-Ajax game? Igor Paxal. Which substitute scored a brace for Paris against Monaco? Doué. Which goal against Ajax on Matchday 8 qualified Olympiacos for the knockouts? Are you... Is it Taremi? Yeah, his. Which Napoli player missed a penalty on Matchday 5? Was it Højlund? Yeah. Who's the player of the match in Juventus Galatasaray in the second leg? Osimhen. Who was the player of the match in Madrid Benfica second game? Tchouaméni. He won both of them, actually. Who scored both of Atleti's goals in their 3-2 loss? Oh, yeah, Llorente. Yes, yes. Who scored Olympiacos' opening goal? Oh, fuck. Let's go for Taremi. Oh, you twat. Who was the player of the match in Monaco-Tottenham on matchday 3? Vicario. What milestone did Bayern Munich reach in the Champions League on matchday 7? Probably 200 wins. Oh, it was 300 then, or something like that. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Whoa. That scared the crap out of me. What the blood clot? Bomber clot. Hey. I'm just going to close the game anyway, but that literally started playing through the speakers. I'm like, whoa, that scared me. Like, why? Why are you doing that? Okay, let's go for a few more questions and then wrap things up. Bumbo! Yeah, I don't even know what I said. Yeah. Sometimes I say madness. Wait, what? 1-0. As soon as I closed the game, maybe I was the problem. Wait, let me just... I haven't seen who scored, hopefully. I'm not going to get gas because, yeah. Come on. Just trink out. I'm putting the game back on after just closing it because the speakers started acting up. Oh, it's Gonzalo Inacio. Oh, for fuck. Come on, Trincao assist? Oh, is that asking for a lot? I didn't see the goal. I'm just seeing him celebrate. The comeback is on, boys. Oh, that could be a Trincao assist, you know? I think it is. Oh, yeah. That is lovely. That's why I just kept doing these quizzes, you know? Just keep rolling. Yeah, whatever. Just have some fun with it. So Gonzalo Inacio put Sporting ahead, and Trincao gets the assist. So good start to UCL Fantasy. I'll take it. And we'll celebrate with another quiz. Boom, boom, shalaye. Boom, boom, balaye. That's Uncharted 2, by the way. Whose brace against Napoli on matchday 8 helped seal Chelsea's round of 16 berth? Oh, yeah, João Pedro. Who scored an own goal in the Tottenham Villarreal game? Okay. Calma. Yeah, Luis Jr. Whose brace scored, helped Sporting stun reigning champions Paris? Yeah, Suarez. Who missed a penalty in the Bodo Glimt Tottenham game? Oh. Okay, yeah, it was Hugh. I forgot he missed the penalty. How many matches on matchday 7 ended goalless? I don't know, 4 or 6? Let's go for 4. Ah, you twat. Who missed a penalty in Monaco's 1-0 win over Galatasaray on matchday 6? Akliuch. Oh, no. No, that's a different game. Which team subbed their goalkeeper after 70 minutes? Bro, you're taking the piss. Yeah, it was Tottenham. Who converted a penalty for Frankfurt against Karabag on matchday 7? It would be Burkhardt, right? No, he's not even in this list, so probably Usun. Boom. Who scored a hat-trick for Paris against Tottenham? Vitinha. And which player scored and assisted for Bayern München versus Paphos? I think Elise. Yeah. They're being sneaky. They put a DS picture and that made me think, maybe. But yeah, it's not the case. Yeah, what's that? João Pedro. Oh, that's how Portuguese people would say it, right? Yeah, Trincao assist indeed. I saw it from a set piece. Are people going to complain, or is it only with Arsenal? I'm just saying. You just broke the UCL app. Relax, man. Not everything's to do with me. Come on. Vinicius' pen, by the way, was awful. Yeah, it was. It was very casual. Then again, Donnarumma is very impressive from penalty saves. FPL need to change like the Champions League. I was on 19 and looked terrible, but managed to get 550 odd. We need subs, blanks, and low points are just depressing. Yeah, but then again, different identities, different games, and FPL, yeah, it's like trying to appeal to the casuals, I guess. I do like the micromanagement of UCL Fantasy. I've always said that. Trincao looks like a whoa. I'm not going to say the rest. He got me, look, he got me some points, so I'm not going to diss him too much. Bit of redemption. If he gets one more goal contribution, then all is forgiven from matchday 1. Only Ancelotti and Mourinho can save us. Who else? Roman. Basically, Roman Abramovich is Chelsea. As soon as he went, Chelsea went back to their default settings. Just saying. I think Bodo Glimt staff have a former soldier in their physiology team. Yeah, well, the defense isn't particularly great, but that's a different point. A bit harsh, to be fair. And maybe Bodo Glimt will humble Arsenal next round if Arsenal go through. Who knows? This game has a scrappy Bodo go-ahead written all over it. I don't know why. Sod's law for Sporting. Yeah, I think Sporting will score another, but it might not be enough to advance. Juan says my FPL team is Haaland, Guiu, Thiago, Wilson, Bruno, Rodgers, Dango, Rice, Virgil, Munoz, Gabriel, Vandenberg, Anderson, Dubravka, and Raya. Looks pretty good. 2 transfers, 0.8 in the bank. Need 2 players for a full 11. Thoughts? -4 maybe. Need 2 players for a full 11. I wouldn't take a -4 hit. Just stick with the 2 free transfers in that case. But yeah, I'd sell Munoz. And possibly Haaland. Yeah, I'd sell Haaland. That's where Bowen could come into play. João Pedro and Ekitike. Yeah, that's what I would do in your case, Juan. And we'll talk more about this on Friday, which is when I'll go live next. What's the most painful decision you've got wrong this season? I can remember the best one. People normally just remember what hurt them, right? And for UCL Fantasy, buying Fermin Lopez just seconds before the deadline, and he scored a hat-trick in the early kickoff versus Olympiacos. That was definitely the standout moment of the season, and probably my best ever transfer in isolation. But in terms of the worst, most painful, I think Trincao in matchday 1, because there was that big debate in the summer. Do we go for Pedro Gonçalves or Francisco Trincao? By the way, Portuguese people are going to hate me for doing this, so apologies. But yeah, I went for Pedro Gonçalves, and in the end, Trincao got a massive return. I also went for Suarez. So that would be probably the most painful UCL fantasy decision that I can remember. That's the one that stands out to me. Bodo Glimt, not even Norwegian champion. It's Viking FK. So Viking FK should be stronger than Bodo. They might be more consistent, but Bodo Glimt have been very impressive in cup football, and they also went quite far in the Europa League last season, reaching the semi-finals, losing to the eventual champions. Yamal, Gordon, Salah, Virgil, or Alvarez, if I need to. Tomorrow. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were calling me Tom. I'm like, that's not my name. Yeah, it's going to be Yamal. Bit boring, but that's the way I'd look at it. Yeah, so people obviously gave the updates. Trincao assist, Ignacio from a corner. Exactly. Wasting just saying, what was that? Bro, the Jamaican came out of you. Yeah, come on. Who doesn't love Jamaicans? Love personality-rich Dylan. Yeah, thank you. I mean, we all have personalities. People call me robots. Call me robots? No, they call me a robot. In the Club World Cup, I remember for matchday 1, the deadline literally passed, and it was something I never expected. And I was still reading up predicted lineups, and you couldn't even see my face. People thought that I was doing a recording. And they're like, yeah, Dylan's a robot, confirmed. Because literally I'm still talking and talking, and the deadline's gone. So what I was saying was in vain. But that was funny, looking back on it. Yeah, there's the assist. I am greedy. I want a bit more than that, but still, better than nothing. Guys, Trincao is man of the match potential now, despite those misses. Yeah, it's a good performance so far, but it's also a question of what could have been, unless he gets another goal contribution or 2. But Bodo Glimt are currently on the counter-attack. And that's always going to be the big risk there. And they've got a corner. Yeah, Trincao just defended that, by the way. He's the one who blocked the cross. So maybe Trincao is up for a Player of the Match award. Bloody idiot defender scored for Sporting. My rival has him. My rival is so annoying. I blew a massive lead last week, I'm guessing. Yeah, Gonzalo Inacio. We talked about him quite a bit in, I think, the Euros as well for Portugal. And yeah, in UCL Fantasy for Matchday 1, he also attracted a bit of interest, but then all the attention went to Quenda. That was another mistake of mine, another regret I had. I went for double Benfica defence. Remember when they lost the Karabag after being 2-0 up? I went for Otamendi and Trubin. Never again. Yeah, that's what I said when I'm mad. Yeah. Sometimes I just say, yeah, that Bomba whatever you want to say, Bombaclat. Oh, Bodo Glimt nearly scored. That is a Bombaclat moment. They hit the crossbar as well. What was that? But yeah, Bodo have a good attack, man. They'll give anyone a good game. And they've got another chance. And that was a terrible shot, but yeah, and that was by Helga. None other than the one I've got in my team, but it is what it is. Watching any good shows at the moment? Well, I did recently watch Pluribus. It's a bit of a strange show. I did pause Justified, which is a very good one. I'm going to get back to that soon. And I'll probably start Slow Horses. And I watched the first episode, finally, of the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen. So, yeah, I'm watching a few good shows. Justified and Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'll start another one fairly soon. I need a Bodo goal so bad. Yeah, I wouldn't be against that, as long as our players get some points. TNT Sports moving to HBO mid-season stinks. There's a lot of deals going around in the world. FIFA and YouTube struck a partnership. Arsenal corners will do unimaginable things to Bodo. Thank you very much. But Arsenal can also struggle from set pieces. Let's not forget they conceded to Leverkusen last time out from a set piece. Lucas Dunn says 2-0 potentially. Yeah, it could be 2 or 3-0 for Sporting if this continues. But Bodo have that attack, that threat on the attack, I should say. But I still think Sporting have one more goal in them. I really do think that. There are rumours that UCL Fantasy remove subs next season. I mean, I can't tell you one way or the other, but I don't think they will. I think a lot of people really like substitutions. So, yeah, it's one of the things that separate UCL Fantasy from the rest. Who to win the Ballon d'Or this season? Declan Rice. I think it depends on the Champions League winner. So, yeah, if it's Arsenal, then someone like Rice, Gabriel would be up there. But I think it's more likely we're going to see like Yamal win it. I really think that. If Real Madrid win the Champions League, Vinicius could be the winner. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Right now, there isn't a standout. Regardless of what you say about all these teams or players, I don't think there is a clear Ballon d'Or winner at the moment. Maybe Harry Kane, if Bayern win the Champions League, he'd be one of the standouts, to be fair. But attackers are always favoured. Ravin puts his FPL team looking pretty decent. Not sure what your situation is. Well, you do say in the next message, a few lines down. 2 free transfers available. What do you recommend? Not sure about -4, to be fair. I think sticking with 2 is fine, even if you only have 10 available players for 31. But, yeah, I'd consider selling Haaland to Joao Pedro. And the other move I'd look at is possibly maybe Semenyo out, even momentarily. I can always change that up for Game Week 32 onwards, because City will likely double in 33, although that isn't completely locked in. So, the last time I closed the game, Sporting scored. Let me do that again. That is shameless copium, but there you go. Very shameless. Okay. So yeah, if you haven't done so already, drop a like, subscribe, hit the hype button, the notification bell, and also share this with those who love UCL Fantasy and FPL. Yeah, I agree. Bodo's rise from nowhere is impressive. They obviously did well in Europa League last season, and they could reach another quarter-final, maybe even semi-final. Who knows? Easy says, Arsenal win the title. The different personality from Dylan will come. Yeah, I mean, thankfully I don't rely on Arsenal for my personality, but yeah, if they were to get eliminated tonight, yeah, I would be pissed. I'm not going to be joyous and expressive, let's say, but yeah, generally speaking, I'm not going to rely on Arsenal. That's something I've learned, especially over the past year. Don't let football affect you too much or destabilize you, but it's easy to say that when you're winning, which Arsenal are doing, and also Argentina winning 4 trophies in a row. You've got to enjoy the good times when they're there, and they're not always guaranteed. Football runs in cycles. Trincao getting back, making defensive contributions as well. Yeah, exactly. And a great save from Reece Silva. Nice summary there. I rather enjoyed Pluribus. Weird indeed. Yes, I enjoyed it as well. I expected something a little bit different, I guess, but there you go. We'll have to check it out. Cheers. Let's see. Paradise on Hulu is so good. 2 episodes remaining in season 2. I might add that to my list there. Possible, Kai, but it's all about Arsenal. Let's see if they end up winning. But it is half-time now in the Sporting Bodo Glimt game, 1-0. Obviously, those with Suarez, like Twisted Parky, Won't be particularly happy, but it's still early days. There are new rules in the World Cup about time wasting. Neymar will be upset about this. Well, Neymar hasn't been selected for Brazil, so I don't think he really cares. But yeah, Neymar is still one of the all-time, well, at least one of the best players of his generation, and definitely had the potential to be an all-timer. 10 plus shots on target in total. Insane, right? And the Bodo Glimt goalkeeper, how many saves has he made? 4 saves. Yeah, he's also got the most saves this season. I'm taking a break from One Piece. Is that how they say it? I think so, but haven't seen One Piece yet. I finished Better Call Saul. Was so good, probably the second season, Last of Us next. I saw the first season of Last of Us. I also platinumed all the games, but I haven't seen the second season. And yeah, let me not say anything. But as for Better Call Saul, yeah, that's one of my favorite shows as well. My top 3, though, remain Breaking Bad, The Wire, and probably my favorite, The Sopranos. Just saying. Bodo at home will be a nightmare for away. Yeah, but Arsenal did beat them back in the Banter era. But yeah, I think Arsenal, they need to beat Leverkusen first, and then hopefully they go through and go all the way. Whoa, okay, I'm sorry, mate. What's this about? For an Argentinian, you are funny, Dylan. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, buddy. I'll remove the first few words, but thank you for the compliment, I guess. Bodo were non-league 4 years ago, I think. That is very impressive. They have come out of obscurity, essentially, and they've had a brilliant campaign. Bodo qualifying for the league stage from round 1 qualifying. Yeah, it's unbelievable, right, when you put it like that. And yeah, let me go back to this. I've just had this on for a while now. Play again. Yes, let's get this up. Oh, Jesus. But I'll be honest, I don't want to stick around for the lineups because then I wouldn't end. I'd basically be finishing at 7 and yeah, I got some stuff. Oh, the quiz, yeah. Which Liverpool player scored against his former club on matchday 3? Ekatike? I can't remember. My time's up. Fuck off. Let's do that again. I can't remember who they faced in matchday 3. All right, let's do that again. Who scored Napoli's first goal in the 2-0 win? McTominay. How many players were sent off in the Paris-Leverkusen game? 2. Which fellow English club could Newcastle potentially meet? Liverpool. Liverpool? Oh no, you idiot. It's Chelsea. Yeah. Bombakla. How many shots on target did Club Brugge have versus Aleti in the first leg? It's gonna be one of the high numbers. How many games in the round of 16 first leg finished goalless? Finished goalless? None. Who scored the winner for Chelsea against Pathos on matchday 7? Caicedo. No, yeah, Caicedo. Yeah, it was. Which defender scored Inter Milan's winner in the 2-1 win over Cara Almaty? Yeah, at times I didn't even do it. I should have used one of the boosters. Who was the player of the match in the Atalanta-Dortmund game in the second leg? Zappacosta. What was the aggregate score of the Atalanta-Dortmund knockout phase playoff tie? 4-3. Who scored twice in Arsenal's 3-1 win over Inter on matchday 7? Who scored twice? Jesus, right? Yeah, Gyökeres scored, but he didn't score a brace. Yeah, Jesus. I had a brain fart there. Not great. Yeah, maybe I'll give this a rest because I've done so many of these quizzes. And for those that are wondering, how's my team looking? Well, not bad at the moment. Trincao could be on a mega haul already, but he did provide the assist from a set piece for Gonzalo Inacio's opening goal against Bodo Glimt. That tie remains in the balance. 3-1 in the away side's favour. And yeah, Gabriel's my captain for today. I'll talk about this with patrons and members, but I think a Barca attacker will be my next captain if needed. And I'll take off my lowest scoring players from the Tuesday for those yet to play on the Wednesday. If you haven't done so already, like this stream, subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so you're always up to date on my content, both FPL and UCL Fantasy. We have a very quick turnaround with a Friday deadline for Game Week 31, so keep your eyes peeled. The plan is to do a transfer tips, a best wildcard squad, and my team selection over the coming days. And of course, going live answering hundreds of your questions as usual on the Friday. And there is going to be a little break because of the international friendlies and stuff like that. No finalissima, of course, but yeah, we can use that time to recharge the batteries, maybe, in my case, get my act together for FPL in particular, and end the season as strongly as possible with doubles and blanks headed our way. And I'll be doing content as well, as usual, and you won't be alone. You won't be, let's say, completely bored in this international break. So keep on tuning into my videos and live streams. I have similar opinions with The Last of Us adaptation, Dylan, based on that reaction. Masterpiece Games. Yeah, I do prefer the first one, which I think is the general consensus. Have a good one, Dylan, and chat. Best of luck. Thank you very much. 7 games to go. Rest and World Cup. That will be chaos. Yeah, there's so much football to be played. It should be, well, insane. So yeah, thanks to everyone here who has been watching. Just like Harris and James, enjoy the Champions League matches this week. Yeah, it's a shame that the Finalissima got cancelled. I did see Argentina's perspective. Naturally, I'll be sort of in their camp, in their favour. But yeah, with Argentina, it's a shame. I think that trophy is still prestigious. It has history from the 1980s, so it would be good to have it actually feature every 4 years, and have it as a constant, like we did before the Confederations Cup. Subs increase engagement. They would be freaking crazy, says Twisted Parky. Yeah, I get that. That is a good point. And he's not on about subscribers, which is also true. That helps with engagement. But he's on about substitutions in fantasy games. Any thoughts on Chelsea fine and transfer ban? Not particularly surprised, and I think both Chelsea and City could be in a lot more trouble based on their transfer activities and things over the years. But I don't know all the ins and outs, to be fair. But yeah, it's something we have seen before, at least with like a temporary transfer ban for Chelsea. And yeah, it's something that isn't completely surprising. Arsenal have to win convincingly today. My heart can't take another late win. Yeah, but Arsenal don't get things done the easy way. We know that by now. And yeah, it's all about going through, of course, but it's always a preference if you can do things a little bit easier. Not yet, I think. Not for all the teams in terms of the lineups. Twisted Parky says, O'Reilly out, not sure who in. Thoughts? Yeah, I would sell Haaland to Ekitike or Bowen. You don't have to do that, to be fair, and there is a case to keep Haaland in your situation, but I think with O'Reilly, I'd be more open to selling him. The thing is, Man City could double in 33, but you could also wildcard in 32 and just focus on what's right in front of you and sell the City players for now. I know that you can't see me, mate. It's literally part of the stream. I always have this screen when I'm about to end it. But yeah, different graphics, different screens, variety. That's the kind of thinking there. Yeah, heard second season Last of Us is pants, but we'll give it a try. I think there's one good episode in there from what I've heard, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really judge it. I don't know, Mr. Parky. I don't have it with me, but let's try to get to 300 likes. It would be greatly appreciated, of course. We had over 1,000 people watching for many parts of the stream. I'll see you very soon for the FPL content, and I will still be there for the quarterfinals and beyond in the Champions League. Take care, enjoy the football. I wish you all the best of luck in UCL Fantasy, and I'll see you on Friday for the next deadline stream.